There is a story told long and far in the distances, in ancient histories past, carved in the ruins, eroded over time. A tale of a young girl born into a world on fire. A young girl rended and ruined 1,000 times over by the conflicts of men and mortals. A young girl with fire, a cold, dark, angry fire, so deep in her soul. And when the conflict came to rend that young girl's life yet again, she bade something to aid her. And something answered. Not something human. Not something inhuman. Something uncomfortably in between. And it gave her power. And the power to spread that power to others. And with it, she rent the entire world asunder. Kingdoms, baronies, and empires alike were put to the sword at her whim. And when the consequences of her bargain came back to bite her, she fled, her and her sisters, into all the shadows in the corners of your eyes. And the rumor says that they're waiting for something. Good morning, afternoon, and or evening, ladies, gentlemen, and all those in between and beyond that binary of the internet. Welcome back to Neon Lights Roleplay, and much more specifically, welcome back to Against the Light, our Kingdoms in Warfare adventure. I am your host for the duration of the stream, Young Foxy, and I have with me 4 lovely devoted souls, 4 members of the High Council of House Vairdans, who are here to, I don't know, save the world or something, right? Let's go around the horn.
Are we?
I don't know, maybe. We'll figure it out. Let's go around the horn real quick, pass it to everybody in consequential order, and let them tell you who they are, who they're playing tonight, and where they can be found on the internet. And answer this question for me if you don't mind when it's your turn. What's your character's steed? How do you ride around comfortably? And let's go ahead and pass this over to... Let's see, who do we start with today? Perfect. Swinging over to the far right of your screen, a person near and dear to my heart, a big fan of yonder Neon Lights Roleplay, as he is a member of our dear team and someone who I am so very pleased to have met. Thank you so very much for joining us here. Tate, please say hello to the audience.
Hi. Hello, Twitch. My name's Tate Washburn, and I am playing Airdrie Terravent here. He is the elf exile, I guess is the right word for him. Ranger that has found himself as in charge of a bunch of humans. It's very weird for him. And yeah, I don't think Airdrie, like, he can ride a horse. I don't think he enjoys riding another creature almost ever. Generally, he only does it if he has to, or if he has to rest. He would much rather be on his own 2 feet. He doesn't trust that. He doesn't trust like that.
Really? You never get caught riding another creature ever, Airdrie? That's just never a thing you do? I mean, listen, I don't know.
Many have tried.
I don't yuck your yum. Many have tried. Already on fire.
I was gonna say it's more like maybe something might ride him.
Listen, fair enough. Let's go ahead and keep moving in the clockwise duration. Moving to our bottom right of your screen there. A friend of mine who I confide in for personal advice, GM nonsense, and occasionally having my characters confess to theirs, which is always fun. Hey Meg, how you feeling, love?
You don't know that yet, audience.
The audience will know eventually. Hello everybody, I am Meg Mysteria, and tonight I am going to be playing Leah Evermore, our resident house historian. And as far as how she gets around and travels, Lydia rides on a pale horse, almost a sheer white coat and mane.
It's
It's
almost
not
a certain beauty in
biblical
that,
at
huh?
all.
I know, beautiful almost. It's a certain biblical beauty if you have to keep the alliteration going. Let's hold on to that thought very closely as we swing just across the dice window and over to the bottom left to our resident violet friend, our purple compatriot, I'm not saying our lavender lover here. There we go. Love it. Keeping that one. Boom. There it is. Chows, how you feeling, baby boy?
Feeling very purple.
Yeah.
To be honest. So just as a forewarning to y'all and to chat, expect man behind the slaughter memes, blueberry memes, Thanos jokes, just the whole purple mirage of just
Rapid
jokes.
fire. Rapid fire.
They're heading here. So yeah, I'm Chouse. I'll be playing Rio Branshaw, our little crime gremlin of the High Council, but not many people know of it. But yeah, Rio will be riding kind of close to the carriage that our fallen compadre, or his fallen compadre, Morgan will be in, on a black Mustang with 3 or 4 boots, 3 or 4 white boots. I could have phrased that better.
I love that.
But yeah.
Oh, like it's for okay. I imagined actual boots. I was very confused.
Yeah, the horse just has, these Dior boots on, real clean Louis Vuitton on, real gorgeous, real. You gotta stun if you're gonna trot around, Like honestly, it's critically important. Anyway, besides
totally
Rio's
not the markings,
obviously.
But
yeah, I get it eventually.
Rio will be in the middle of reading a book, that of which our house historian has given him to read, helping him learn more about the magical side of the world that they live in.
Lovely. And as you get some studying going, let's swing around to our last, but absolutely far from least cast member. Coming over to your far left over there, audience. Someone who I am just so glad to finally have permanently on a Neon Lights campaign slot, and I hope I can keep that going for as long as physically possible. Our favorite legendary vermin. How you doing, babes?
I'm doing pretty well. Hi, everybody. I'm Legendary Vermin. You can find me as Legendary Vermin on all the places on the internet that matter. We'll talk more about what those are later. And today I'm playing Fane Hemlock, who is a absolutely massive harpy woman, who tells jokes and does smooches and occasionally obliterates a small number of people with a single shot from her magical lightning bow.
That did happen.
That did happen.
Evaporates some people's.
Yeah, just evaporates people who are like stepping to the people she cares about.
Casually.
You asked about my steed.
I did.
We've described my steed in detail before, but my steed is a equally massive, like a moose-sized deer, whose antlers are strung in and throughout with like ribbon and string and ancient unknowable coins and medallions and runes carved on little rocks. The steed seems to know some stuff, but carries this 8-foot tall bird lady with ease because her bones are hollow.
Well, outside of 8-foot tall bird mommy GFs, we're gonna come and we're gonna slide it back over to me, I suppose. That you left with me, of course, audience. If you haven't heard by now, I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy. Also known as your favorite fox. You can find me on the internet at BIG_FOXXII. Not important right now, though. What is important is that I will be your game maestro for today's stream, playing all the lovely people who are not these individuals right here. And audience, I believe I've kept you more than long enough. Let's return to the scene, shall we? Where we last left off, affairs had turned a bit for the worse, I would say. The group found themselves exploring the town of Salsmouth after the Ithrika, exploring different venues and casting their eyes at different sights and sounds, some following curious leads, all ultimately leading them to a few curious discoveries. And in the end, ultimately, a bit of tragedy, as the aid of our dear Master of Intelligence, Morgan, was felled low by some strange ailment. As the party frantically drove to answer questions to discover what could be done, answers came from another aid. This one, an aid to our dear emissary, high emissary, Fane, Ilum, a Medusa, who revealed several things. One, that there are others like her. Medusa are intricately tied to the history of this world in a way that seems much, much larger than any of you could have thought. Much more importantly, though, there's a Medusa operating in the Gilded Coasts and in the mountains up north by the name of Ithrika. You all returned to Westreach post-haste. You figured it was time to get out of Salsmouth enough time. There were enough eyes on you and enough things happening. You figured it was time to get out of there. The journey back was thankfully incredibly eventless as it was. Naudi talked with the rest of you and made sure things were going accordingly. You filled her in on the situation with Morgan. She almost immediately ordered you all to break off right then and there, but you argued with her for a bit about returning to Westreach and making sure things were perfectly in order there. You spent less than 3 hours or so in the town, honestly, attending to a few small court matters, shooing off an attendant here or there, signing a decree once and twice, and before you knew it, you were off. Your steeds prepared, prepped, and taken care of. They were fed, bathed, and properly prepared for a long journey ahead, as they had already spent many days out on the road. A special caravan was prepared with 2 strong, broad horses and a cart behind with an open wagon top. It's kind of got a removable top you can kind of bring up or down. Morgan is resting in this, such as to make sure that she can, or they can properly take care of themselves and, not have to worry about being bounced around on the steed the whole time. It's only about a day or two into your journey that you start to remember you are on a timetable. Morgan has about 7 days left in the mortal coil. And the journey up north is probably going to take you about 5.5, if you're lucky. I'm feeling like there's something on your tongue there, Fane.
I very distinctly recall carving off a chunk of a tree that has a little rune on it that lets folks teleport.
Sure does. There's a interesting thing you mentioned that, actually. There's a little quirk to that teleporting rune you ran into, isn't there?
Yeah.
What's that
Gotta
quirk?
be some kind of Medusal.
Usel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have that on you. It's with you. You can make of that what you will. In fact, let's do this. What am I doing? It's the first day since, maybe the second day. We'll even go fairly. It's the second day since you've left Westreach. You have 7 days left. It's the evening, later in the night. You are pulling your carts aside towards a small little rest town. The name is not even important enough for you to remember at this point. You pull in. The innkeeper is a portly man who appears to be washing a cup as you walk in, but the sheer presence and majesty you four present as you walk forward immediately makes him sharpen up and recognize that he's in the presence of some nobles. In fact, he probably knows you all by name, if we're going to be honest. He immediately escorts the 4 of you upstairs. There's a large, massive suite with sort of 4 separating bedroom chambers there that you can all get your rest in. Naori has a separate bedroom entirely to herself, which she will retire to in the evening. but for now is still with you all aside a massive table. You can all be wherever you'd like to be in this space, this sort of massive, large central room with 4 separate bed chambers here. There's a large fire pit off to a high wall, billowing smoke out and high into it through a chimney. The table has a few assortments and hors d'oeuvres and decorations and foods and drink items. There's a shelf with a few books and scrolls on various small travel tales you could read if you'd like to, and other things like that. Beyond that, you have the full range of your equipment and gear with you. I'm going to put you all in the scene right here, if that sounds cool with everybody. It's the evening. Any plans you'd like to make or discussions you want to have, or otherwise RP moments. Scene's yours, darlings. Have fun.
I think Airdrie probably actually had this conversation on the way here, but for sake of the scene, like, probably he's finishing it here with his Lieutenant Reese, and has been going over details of, like, the things he's going to send her off and do, and it's mostly mustering some soldiers. And he's talking to, it's like, so what we're going to need, at least for now, is a more mobile archer unit, something that can keep up with me personally in case that we have to go into a full-scale war. That's definitely a possibility. And possibly some more spearmen, better trained. We need prepared to levy some of the civilians, but I don't think we need to do that yet. The greater priority will be the more experienced units. And if Reese is like leaves or confirms with just, now I need to be clear, I don't want just a regular crossbowman. I need someone who can keep up with me. Understand?
Understood, Commander. I'll do what I can to find only the best. There is a question, though. If you believe it best that we focus on the experienced units first and then readying for a levy of the civilians, do you feel it best that we prep them with a preparatory message? Such would give them more time to arm themselves in the event of a war, but it would spread, for lack of a better term, tension throughout the lands.
Yeah, I think Airdrie had to consider that for a second, and probably to the others if they're in the room is, do you think we can justify this as cautionary preparation? As much as we are aware of what the church is doing, I don't know that the regular civilians are going to understand. And there are other problems that we can be presenting as the thing we're preparing for.
Can I make like a backwards diplomacy thing? Because I think it would have come up that we were attacked, like our scouts were attacked.
Okay.
And saying like, hey, we had this thing happen. We don't know what's going on, but like, without saying as much as like, hey, we think the folks over there are gonna like sail on over here. Just say like, hey, we're keeping our eye on what's going on the other side of the ocean, the sea, the spit, the lagoon. I don't know what kind of water mass it is.
I'm looking at the map right now, honestly, and sea. It's called a sea. It's called a sea on the map. I called it a sea on the map. It's a sea. We're gonna go with that.
Neat. On the other side of the sea, just like straight up. Because I think it's something that is potentially concerns everybody at the Ithrika.
Yeah, definitely.
Now he leans down a bit and says, "That's certainly a possibility. It would definitely be a lot less panic than us saying that we're mobilizing for a war or thinking about one. However, in this day and age, any call to think about early preparation will still spread some sort of tensions regardless of our intent. We should be prepared for some kinds of rustle either way."
Yes. There is also the Mitri and the Alderi. They're actively beefing, so there's also that. What?
Sorry, you said beefing.
That's
nothing.
It's beefing.
I love that. We're keeping it. No, we're keeping it. That's it. It's a term. It's in universe slang. It's canon now. Collaborative world building. There you go. Naudi leans back and just says, based on the way you all spoke at the Ithrika, it doesn't seem like we have any intentions to get involved in that conflict either way.
True. Mm. Well, if we can't avoid tension, then just let people know we're being cautious. At least coming from me, that's not exactly uncommon.
She chuckles a bit and says, "That much is certainly true. I'm in accord, if you all feel it appropriate. Just keep that in the back of your minds as we're moving forward."
I think Fane is probably having a similar conversation with one of her aides. Basically saying, I think even more than we said at the Interacta, just like, I think there's a potential like existential. I have personal experience that there is an existential threat coming our way, and when we put out the call to get people to rally, be aware that this is serious and it's not just nations posturing. This is something that's going to affect all of the enclaves.
Yeah, I'd say it's honestly I wouldn't say it's Ilum. It's definitely another one of your attendants that sort of
No,
works with them.
I'll get a name for you.
Yeah, take your time.
I was meaning to do that.
Take your time.
Also, Reese is a woman. It's her last name.
Yes.
Just so you know.
She's sort of Corporal Reese, Sub-Commander Reese, is sort of thinking through all of this, and is just like, very well. In the morning, I'll return back to Westreach and begin to move with the rest, what we can as far as mobilization efforts and seeking out what I can for volunteers. I'll do what I can to make sure their calls are discreet, if nothing else. Did you get me a name, by the way?
Yeah, it's Fox Llewellyn.
I love that, and I hate it at the same time, actually. Attendant Fox Llewellyn, who sort of... Give me a description for me.
We're gonna do the thing of like she's what's the she's a fox person,
Cool.
but like the
Kitsune?
Yeah, Kitsune.
Vulpin?
yeah. That's the picture I want to draw, but I'm not somebody who knows about all the lore of Kitsune, but like that humanoid fox type thing. That's what we're going for.
Got it. Yeah,
Girl.
Easy. So they offer a very low nod, their ears kind of bouncing a bit as they do so. Just, we've been speaking with the courts a bit here or there, and there's certainly already talk of Russell in other places. It sounds as if House Vairdans is not the only group that believes conflict is possibly around us. There is talk of willingness to send aid. In particular, the Wildclaw tribe has offered, well, pensive assistance.
Wildclaw Enclave is their assistance will be needed.
I will have our assistants and attendants reach out to them, certainly. I will have an emissary to approach you as soon as possible, milady.
And get word to Nyx as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Your will. And without any other word, they sort of low bow and almost kind of like glide their way. Like their movement is very simple.
It's not a low bow because that's very hierarchical.
Fair
It's
enough.
like hands to elbows.
Got it. Good
and
old
like
gladiators.
foreheads pressed
Yeah.
together.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cute. I love that. I'm sorry.
I just have like the high level knowledge. They have the lower level connections. We make it work.
So cute. Yeah, so clasp of the elbows, forehead touch, a sort of almost soft low purr for a brief moment, and then just, very slowly just starting to glide their way out of the room as they go to make their way. It's not long after as they exit that Sub-Commander Rice almost takes that as their sort of cue in. Just, It is a bit late in the eve, my lords and ladies. I will take my leave if it pleases you.
Go swiftly, go safely.
Of course. She offers a very low sort of curtsy, gathers up her helmet and her,
Loot backwards.
She gathers up her helmet and her weapon and begins to make her way. Naori, who has the whole time has kind of just been tapping at the table and rubbing her chin a bit, just... Lydia?
Yes, my lady?
Could I leave you in charge of this ragtag group as I head back to Westreach with the rest tomorrow? There are other matters I believe are important to attend to, and it best if not the entire court is absent, yes?
I would have to agree. I would not have recommended you join us anyway.
I know, I understand that there are duties and responsibilities and other such important words, but to think, the first time to see a Medusa in centuries, who could deny that thrill?
My lady, you work with a Medusa.
Well, yes, but like, a Medusa more tied into the world's lore. An ancient Medusa, perhaps an Arc Medusa? And I'll say, without rolling, you would know, Lydia, that from what we understand, there are different sort of, I guess we'll say, subgenuses of Medusa to a degree. At least this is the way that the history sort of cataloged them. While this is funny, you asked about the legs of Medusa in either the pre-call or right here. Actually, most Medusa that you would see have legs that look pretty human. It was pre-call. And so those of you know as just sort of your base generic gen line Medusa, but other Medusa look in different categories and sort of subtypes that have different variations on that sort of body type and body mixture. And so while there are rumors that there is sort of an arch Medusa or a Medusa that is sort of capable and powerful beyond any other mortal reckoning, none has been seen, well, as far as the records say, ever.
While there is the slight chance of a possibility, those are only... Well, you could equate them to fairy tales at this point. There aren't many records, if any at all, left.
Yes, but I suppose the curiosity simply drew me.
It's perfectly understandable. You always did have a thirst for knowledge.
Some would say it's hard to slake.
We'll take copious notes, my lady.
Very appreciated, my Ranger General. Alas, your sub-commander has the right idea. It is late and I require my beauty rest. I will see you all off before I head out in the morning.
Rest well, my lady.
She
Sleep well.
rises, offers you all a very, very low bow with the frill of her dress, and moves calmly out of the way, a gathering of a couple attendants moving with her to sort of take care of things. And it's sort of here that you all kind of now still have space to yourselves now, as all of your other attendants kind of fled out and made their way to yourselves. It's now just the four of you. Morgan is kind of tucked away into a cot close to the fireplace as they were shivering cold, offering like far, far beyond what you expect for like a fever or a generic sickness. And so you felt that putting them closer to like some warmth might be a very good idea given the circumstance. And they seem to have settled to some degree. They seem much more comfortable than they were in the cart. They have nodded off to a low, peaceful slumber by any of your reckonings. If you want any deeper information on how they're feeling, any of you could give me a medicine check when it feels appropriate. Otherwise, the four of you are in scene on your own and can do whatever you feel appropriate. I will leave it to you all now.
I think Airdrie would do a medicine check. He can't do much other than treat symptoms, but he does have various herbalism stuff that he can do, and he just would busy himself with that while having whatever conversation is going on.
Cool.
Point two screen.
Go ahead, gotcha.
I was just gonna say, if Morgan is like shivering cold, I think one of the things that Fane is doing is occasionally going over and just like hopping under blankets because her body temperature runs high. Because birds.
Birds.
Those birds.
I can imagine a small argument. It's like, no, you don't understand. Airdrie's like, no, you don't understand. It's a lack of blood flow. Your body temperature will help, but we really need to. And like, they get in some like small debate over that sort of thing.
It's just like Morgan's head like right here and then big wings.
I love that.
He's like, no, I need to apply a poultice to increase, but you don't have to.
Just move for 1 minute.
I can.
Real, like during like all their talking and stuff, he would be kind of working on his clipboard, dealing through a lot of the business that Morgan had taken up as his assistant, and kind of just filling in for her absence, and kind of nervously clicking up his pencil against it and kind of pipe up. I do have a bit of a question for all of you. I hear something playing and I don't know what it is. Okay,
Assume that's not in
playing.
character.
Weird. Yeah, no, that was in person. The question is in character. I am wondering why you all are here to help this plight that I've come across. You are under no obligation or gain much of anything from doing this. So I'm just perplexed at your willingness to help a street rat like me.
Fane is going to just say idiot and like if he's anywhere close, grab him and pull him into like the nest.
The cuddle pile. Yeah, just to his head sticking out from feathers. I assume now it's
Yeah.
no. They've attacked one of our own. She is valuable to you in your operations, and you're valuable to ours. And you are a friend. Adria just sort of stands awkwardly. He's like, I don't know where to go after that.
Thank you.
Truly good.
Yeah. That eases a lot of my worries and concerns because a lot of
Hey,
my
sorry.
business is purely business and not many help out in the kindness of their hearts. So feels
If it
good
makes you more
knowing that.
comfortable.
Go ahead.
No, if it makes you feel more comfortable, it is somewhat business.
Very well.
I don't think any of us like to watch people die. By the way, we have that rune uh,
Yes.
in my bag. Do we? Is there any study we could make of it? I, as I understood it, it only activates for Medusa, but perhaps we could widen its window somehow.
Adria immediately just crinkles his nose like, I don't trust teleportation.
That's true. But I mean, let's see.
It's out of my expertise.
Bane has started to like preen Rio's hair.
Aww.
This would seem like a weird question, but from what we know, these runes only react to Medusa in a sense, or of their biology. We might be able to get. Oh, is that the Sirenscape playing?
Yes, genius.
That's what I've been hearing.
Holy God.
I hear like fake little people talking, and it's just like something is
God.
playing. Someone's talking.
I love you so much, Chouse. I love you so much, okay?
It's atmosphere, man.
Took too long of time. And
We get it.
Rio's like how this does seem like a weird thing to ask, but how much Medusa biology do we need? Because we have a Medusa with us, and would it be able to be triggered something as little as spit? Because if that's possible, we might be able to.
This is
There's
not my
so-
area of expertise.
Yeah.
Lydia.
Everyone looks to the most powerful magic user in the room.
Just slowly wheels over.
Well,
What'd you do?
certainly the most studied.
Yeah.
You have other skills that compensate for magic, and Airdrie has basically none.
As far as I can tell, it's really just looking for a particular marker. Think of it as you don't necessarily need the biology of a Medusa, you just need the marker from the magic that causes them to transform.
Oh.
Airdrie, open my bag. Carefully. Mind.
They will carefully open the bag.
And bring the rune closer.
Oh, if it's that, he's gonna like bring the whole bag probably, and then like gently lay it out on a table and unwrap it because he doesn't want to touch that.
If I say Airdrie's me when a woman asks me to go in her bag, I just bring her the entire bag because I just don't go in women's bags, dog. I don't know. It just feels weird to me. Like,
You don't know what's in there. No, it's more he's just like very careful with his bundle. He might use a cloth to hold the cloth touching it even, and like lay it out. He's like, just
there it is on the table. It is the same harp-looking symbol that the two of you have seen before.
Sorry, I'm looking at my spells really quick because I don't know if I have. There's a spell that I personally normally let people like look at magic with.
Oh, okay.
identify.
Either
Detect
identify or detect magic.
Okay,
Like
I was gonna say you could totally cast whatever you want of those, or just roll Arcana, and I would give you some information on it.
Oh, yeah. I just want to kind of tune in and see how it reacts to us bringing, Morgan. Closer.
Sure. Give me a quick little Arcana roll, real quick, and why don't you do the same for me, Lydia?
Mine was an unnatural 20.
Oh, big numbers.
Also an unnatural 20. We're good. We're pretty good at magic.
Big numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You
here's
have
what
the two magic people and the two
call
non-magic.
that-
It works out pretty well.
Well, listen, the DC was 20. In any case, so you gather up this piece of bark with the rune carved into it, holding it on the back where it seems to not really be as caustic or anything. No effects take over you. As you bring it closer to Morgan, who is still lying there under you, you feel it kind of begin to pulsate a bit, kind of very, very slow and rhythmically. And then as you bring it within just like let's say, few inches short of their skin, it stops pulsating and you feel almost like a tether connecting this rune to another rune far off north. It doesn't appear to recoil or have any sort of negative reaction to this at all. There's no indication that it wouldn't work.
The other question is, am I, by touching them, am I within the rune's gravity?
Oh, I'm actually really glad you asked that, because that's relevant to why I had to bring up Lydia's Arcana check. So as you're doing this, Lydia, you're kind of also ambiently, magically tuning into this rune as it's pressing towards Morgan. And as it gets close to them, you feel not the literal harpy decoration, but the magical rune, the rune in the magical space, that space between worlds, expand, kind of bubble out, maybe a good 10 feet in any direction. And with that dirty 20, easily able to tell that it's almost like an encapturing field. Like, once it's open, or I guess I'll put it this way. The Medusa coded sort of locking mechanism only applies for activating the teleportation as it is. Once it's active and it closes up, anything that's in that closing rune is getting teleported. Well, any one.
Is there any indication to how long it remains open once active?
It feels like it's almost like designed to kind of ping, almost in a sense, like send a magical presence through that tether. So it feels like it's meant to kind of, once you activate it, this like sort of this sort of sphere of energy will hold itself open as long as sort of it's inactive, but it does nothing for as long as it's inactive. Once you activate it, it'll close it in about 4 or 5 seconds. So the honest answer is, you can hold it open for effectively forever, but it won't do anything at all until it begins to close.
It's like it's almost capturing a bubble of people and then sending that through.
Exactly.
Less like a portal and more like a pop.
Yeah.
I think that could also be in character if you guys explain that to us. I'm not gonna put words in your mouth.
It seems like the rune is still reacting to them. I think we are in a good place if we wanted to use their touch to activate the rune.
Okay.
I can't say how many people we could get through, but
It's a destination or a direction.
it's. I can hear the other rune that way.
Oh, there's another room. Good. I just worried that it might be send them this number of miles in that direction, and we've moved the rune. For all we know, we could end up in the inside of a mountain.
Side note,
Oh,
add
it's
that to the
anchored.
D&D game one day. That sounds like a really fun thing to fuck some players up with.
Fuck.
I do that in my own game. Totally out of character. I do that in my own games. There's two kinds of teleportation. One is to a destination, and one is a specific direction and distance.
Blind
You
jump?
gotta know which one
Oh,
it is.
that's fun. Anyways.
Otherwise,
Get excited for her orbital mechanics messing that up.
That'll be fun.
it is okay. I can't do that math. No, it's in relation to the Earth. We're not fucking with it.
Any case,
Have fun doing quantum physics.
We're doing a 3-body problem. Let's get excited,
oh boy.
No,
Oh boy.
and not the fun kind.
I failed college math.
Damn
Anyways,
As far as I can tell, it looks like once it's active, it'll create almost like a bubble of space. Maybe 10 feet, I would say, is the maximum radius. So, however many people we want to bring that can fit within that sphere, once the rune is activated, it will basically transport everyone to where the secondary rune is.
I'm in favor of a smaller group of people, not just limited by that. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to bring. What did you name your elk?
Oh, taproot.
Tap something? Taproot, yes. I'm trying to say this in character. Taproot, yes. I don't think we can
Yes.
bring them.
Taproot. I will.
I don't think we can bring them.
Politely, Airdrie, I only ride taproot so that I don't outpace all of you.
This is fair. I can't fly. I understand that.
The issues that we run into here is, I believe, this rune won't be going with us. GM, is
So
that
we'll
a
have to
better.
get somewhere
is
safe.
that a reasonable assumption?
Oh, it
Yeah.
absolutely is.
Almost better though. We can keep it in a safe place, pay someone to keep it out of the way, and then we can teleport back. Hopefully.
Why did you
Hopefully.
purr that?
Because it was. I love that that someone got it without me having to tell y'all that. So I was happy about it.
Yeah, it would. Well,
Is that a
if
problem, Vermin?
there is another rune over there linked to this one, then all we have to do is just go back to the rune over there and
Yeah,
activate
exactly.
that rune and then be brought back here.
Well, much to
We
Airdrie's
trust
point as well, we don't exactly know where we'll be showing up.
That's true. But I did also bring a small company of my own men, and they would be able to secure a perimeter once we
Oh,
arrive.
good. Once you arrive, that's interesting. I was gonna say it would almost be better. I don't know. How much do we trust the innkeeper or local guardsman?
No.
No? Mm.
No.
You might as well send the rune back with Neori.
It's true. We could send it back
Also,
with her.
no. No.
Oh wait, it's true. It's a
Where's the
vulnerability.
nearest Fey enclave?
Let's see.
Hmm.
That's where I want to send it, because a Fey enclave, it doesn't seem like something that they would fuck us up with, and there's probably a witch there who would be happy to keep an eye on it.
Mm. Additionally, if any of the Medusa end up teleporting back to this rune, Fey Enclave would be less likely to be attacked on sight. and we wouldn't cause a diplomatic incident almost immediately. The fact that it hasn't happened while it's in the bag is already very lucky, or they know that we have it.
Or they know that it's just not where it should be. Because it was attached to a tree. Trees don't tend to move.
Well, now
What do you mean?
Tend to.
Uh,
Tend to. Not all trees.
druid shenanigans aside,
Yes.
if you awakened the tree that had that,
Clearly somebody
you
who's
wanna
never
share
gone
discussion.
hunting in the walking forest.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't think
That is druid shenanigans. though.
Rio in
Like,
character
druids
will
very
be like,
specifically made that.
trees don't have legs. What? They can't. What? Huh?
All right.
Once to an elf that made it his hobby to awaken every one of his trees.
The tree herders maintain it. It's far away from most civilization, but it is
That's fine.
a
But that is
wandering
specifically
forest.
druid shenanigans.
Yes.
I like the fake enclave idea. I like that as a concept. It seems safe for both potential options. So
You're
long as
already
they're okay with it,
sending-
it is still a vulnerability.
You're already sending. Hold on, let me double check what the name is. Llewellyn? Is that how you pronounce
Llewellyn?
it?
Yeah,
Llewellyn.
Llewellyn.
You're already sending Llewellyn to reconvene with the other enclaves in Nyx. If you
We
trust.
can send a message ahead. I'll see if she's already departed or not. And I kind of unfold myself from everybody. And if they are we on like the first floor or the second floor?
Second.
Second?
Yeah.
I just open the window and hop out.
Goodbye.
Fane takes off into the night winds. The window is now open, so it's a couple degrees cooler in here. Nice little breeze coming in. Some crickets chirping. I got some cricket sounds, don't I? Other than that, guess we're still in the scene unless y'all, mother. Yeah, all right.
And right, just sort of casually. I once, mostly jokingly, said that doors are for people with no imagination. I would like to think Fane already would do this sort of thing, but I'm somewhat worried that I have encouraged it.
Doors are for people with no imagination is something that Fane says officially all the time.
It started ironically.
You
It
absolutely
started as a
It's
joke.
just- yeah, well, it was mostly a joke just to illustrate the point that you can always enter a building through other means, but it was not meant to be the norm. It's fine.
You
I mean,
you
it's
said it
almost
at a very
it's
important
not.
time in her life.
If it's any consolation, she was doing it before you two met.
Mm.
Now
Oh,
she
of
just
course
does it for fun.
I swear she's doing it just to mess with me, but that's fine. I can't assume that everyone's doing things to mess with me. That seems kind of conceited.
So,
I would say paranoid.
as you
This
all are
is also
discussing Airdrey's paranoia, which we all know is rampant, no problem. You should see some help
Yes,
about.
very much.
But beyond that, as you're discussing this, the door to your suite is not breaks, but like is opened very, very suddenly. There's a soldier there. Looks like a scout, one of yours, likely Airdrey. Just, my lieges, you wouldn't believe it. There's had to have been a battle of some kind, maybe a few miles out down the road, but there's not enough footfalls for it to be a certain platoon. But the damage, the wreckage, you should see it. A whole caravan, carts upturned, horses split open, men, well, halves of men. Oh, the sight of it all. Not a lick of anything alive for miles around, or at least,
Were you able to tell which flag the caravan was flying?
oh, well, it was hard to tell for a while till we got close, but yeah, one of the carts was carrying a flag. Metri.
Interesting.
Airdrey, I think just as flavor, because he has like taken all of his like belts and pouches and things off, like just waves his hand and his sword appears in it. And he's just gonna follow this man out the door. It's like, all right, perimeter, set it up. I'm gonna investigate.
Already done. We've got scouts on every perimeter, covering every corner on rotating schedules. Would you like your steed, sir?
Airdrey, what's up with it? No, thank you. He'd stop and to the others, like, if you would like to come, I may see if I can flag down Thane on the way there. But
Rio will close the window to help preserve some of the warmth in the room, and he'll turn around and say, "Sounds like some fun in these trying times."
yes, fun, the death of an entire caravan. Anyways, he's gonna leave without any other questions. Y'all just can follow him if you want.
Oh, there is one other thing you might want to be of concern about, my lieges, if you're heading in that direction. We said we didn't see too many footprints, but well, we saw plenty of footprints. Some were human, others horse. But we saw some other ones too. Some big ones.
Details, please.
Yeah, I'll give whatever we can give. Well, roughly human-shaped. 5-toed.
Huh?
But way too big to be a human. Unless you know some big humans.
Oh, that's something. Huh. No.
Gotta say,
That's something.
I heard some tales, and I'm not usually from these lands, but a friend of mine is, a buddy I had back down the way. He knows a little bit about these roads up here, and he says there are tales told about, well, the creatures who call these mountains home, and well, I think they're giants, boss.
That would be likely.
Rio has definitely come across, like followed along and stuff, and so Rio would. What were the defenses around this little town like? Were they seemingly targeted towards larger individuals?
Larger creatures.
Yeah, like like there's like those spikes and stuff that they have leaned forward. If those went up like really high, that would be a pretty big indication that yeah.
So, I think what we'll do is let's allow the party to think about their options. I'm assuming, just to make sure, you all are gonna go check out what's going on with those with that wrecked up caravan. We can deal with we can deal with signaling Fane and such when you return, and everybody else and things. I had a player ask me some questions about some lore. I got to drop on them in a little bit, so we're gonna handle that in a break. So y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be right on back, and yeah, stay tuned. Okay, see you in a bit, friends. Bye bye. And we return to today's session of Against the Light, where we last left off. Our adventurers, the members of the High Council, were gathering and preparing to use the strange teleportation rune to expedite their journey up north to encounter the Medusa and hopefully save Morgan's life. But they were interrupted by a runner with some sullen news. A caravan belonging to the Metri family was attacked on the road and annihilated. And there were some footprints in the ground nearby. Some real big ones. We cut back in the scene on you all with the runner who was taking you all there, moving down the road. It doesn't appear like you're going too far. In fact, just as you leave past the town sort of foray gate, you can see off in the distance a couple of carts that look just savaged.
Do I just have Rio with me,
Nope.
or is everyone going to be here?
Did you signal me?
Actually, I was
I'll
going
have
to say.
signaled.
Yeah, I'll say that right now you have Rio and Lydia with you as well as the runner. Fane is still off doing some nighttime soaring.
Yeah, I think the signal that we've like worked out just generally for I need your attention, but it's not an emergency is he has like a candle that specifically burns green. He's just got a few of them. And he just holds that up as he is running alongside the horses.
And yeah, Fane, as you are handling your night soaring off in the distance, you notice a peculiarly familiar green flame headed down the road outside of town.
make my way towards it in a leisurely fashion once I've finished whatever it is I'm doing.
Once you're done doing bird
Hmm.
shit,
Doing hot bird shit.
doing hot bird shit.
Um,
That actually sounds like a thing we probably should. That sounds horrible. Gotta do a hot bird shit. Don't worry about it.
No, it's not shits. It's mostly
bird
owl
summer.
pellets.
That's fair. Owl pellets.
yeah.
Hot bird pellets. All right, we're gonna let that one
Wait.
rock.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
So,
All right, I'll go then.
mhm.
I was waiting. I thought Giles was going to say something.
Yeah.
Anyways, first thing that Airdrie's going to do is basically have everyone stop and just try and make sure there's nothing still moving in the camp. The visual checkover is like, am I about to be ambushed?
As you approach the camp, all of you as a group, you notice a few things. One, that the first thing you immediately find yourselves aware of is the camp itself is dead. There's no life around it, nothing living. True to what your runner said, the closest thing you find to anything alive is a few strewn corpses, none of which are fully intact at all. There is a man on the ground with an entire arm and a good chunk of his torso missing, another pair of legs and a waist you find with no upper body attached to it. There's a horse in the road that has just a massive amount of its like bodily hulk carved out of it effectively, and just a series of destroyed and wrecked carts and wagons that don't appear to have any reasonable good in them. The only thing you notice that's worth any while is that there's a bunch of gold pieces in the caravan still.
I mean, Airdrie's not really actually interested in that. It's like, so it wasn't a robbery.
yes. Was this caravan heading? What direction was this caravan heading?
North.
Interesting. And we are kind of in an area between Westreach and Castle Shadowhalt.
I would say you're probably a little. That's a Snowhalt, by the way. You're probably
Snowhalt? Oh.
yeah, just about. Yeah, you're not too far from. Probably about. Honestly, if I had to generally place where you guys are, you're probably about here. The town you're at is just about where the river
Okay.
meets here. You're not too far. Like you're about a mountain's path away from Salsmouth. You're more headed towards this way here. And so, honestly, as far as where the road, like where you are in the road right here, you're probably right about here-ish. A lot of the roads that curve
Look at
further
them.
north head out of the Gilded Coast or into the mountains, and others head more curving eastward, westward, further in towards Vetri lands.
Yeah.
What was
Hmm.
Mitri doing all the way up here?
They have holdings all over, don't they?
Well, yeah, but I didn't think any of them would be much more north than Salsmouth.
Well, if I have forgotten the faction they're fighting, the Red
The Aldari.
Aldari. Yeah, right. Not the Red Guard, Aldari. Like, well, the Aldari are right. They believe that they're smuggling drugs in, aren't they? Possibly through here. On that note, can I maybe, is there anything in like the air I could smell or something about like the nature of this caravan? What were they bringing? Do we know?
Absolutely. I'll give you no check at all for this. Here's a couple of things that you smell as you are proceeding to do this. As far as the caravan itself, nothing too out of the ordinary. It seems like it was carrying mostly mead, spices, and salted meats. You could still smell some of the salts and the fresh hoppy scents in the air. What you are smelling a lot more, though, is brimstone. A smoky, fiery smell. And you're noticing off in the night air to the distance, which was hard to see from this far, but there's a column of smoke rising over past a mountain to the north. It's a big plume, bigger than a small campfire would make. And it's not far. In fact, as you're all noticing this, the runner catches your eyes, Airdrie, and then follows them, looking up. That wasn't there earlier.
Hmm. Uh, I mean, this place is
Rio
pretty much
will
maunched up with footprints, but there's the real big giant ones. I'd like to look at those. Sorry, Rio, you go.
Yeah, Rio will begin looking. So like with carriages, they have like their sidewalls and then their floor. Well, the sidewalls continue down a bit further, and in that little space, there's that's a very common spot to store more illicit cargo, and Rio will begin checking
You're looking for
all
the
of
hidden
those
crime
little,
stuff.
yeah, looking for those little hidden stashes if there is any, if there's any hidden there of dream dust.
So, here's what I'm gonna have you do for that. Can you give me a quick little like investigation check if you don't mind, big
Yeah,
balls, real quick?
yeah. Let me
Can
pull up
I
the.
help him with that? I'll bet his investigation's higher
Absolutely.
than mine.
Let's see if I can fucking read. Okay, investigation. We
Ooh,
are.
that's the crit.
Yeah, didn't need that help.
Big
Fuck yeah,
26.
baby.
All right, let's talk through that. So,
I investigate the shit out of this rubble.
uh,
I know exactly what I'm looking for.
Rio, you're picking through. There's about 3 or 4 ruined messes of carts. You're kind of picking through. The first two, it doesn't really seem like you see much. Just there's bog standard built road carts built to handle a few horses pulling them and carry a few tons of weight. Nothing else special. Beyond that, it's the third one you get to when you find the secret compartment. There's a trapdoor on it. It's damaged, so it's already flung open. There's nothing in it. There's no container or anything, but all around the small compartment are the ruins of what you can only assume would have been a wooden box or chest of some kind. And there's a faint blue glittery substance, all too familiar to you, just faintly caked around the edges of it.
Alrighty. Hmm. Well, they weren't here for any meats. Certainly could have been. They were also here for what appears to be dream dust.
So a giant or giants is helping bandits do this, or the giants just get a taste for it?
I have a
Mm.
distinct question I would like to ask. These
Or
bodies, have they been torn apart or have they been bitten into?
I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah,
Both.
is it a clean cut? Is it? Mm.
It's hard to tell for the person whose kind of arm and bits of torso are missing. It looks like it was literally a bit of a tear. Uh, for the torso, the lower body you find, yeah, the parts of it that are sheared off look like teeth, real big teeth, went straight through it.
Well, it
Uh,
seems like they
So
probably didn't have a goal with anything other than maybe looking for a meal.
if I do recall correctly, if you are on, if you do take a bit too big of a hit of dream dust and you start coming off of it, you tends to be a bit more aggressive in searching for your next hit. Um, and so they might have come across some before, gotten a taste for it, and then smelled some inkling of it here, because this is definitely not more of a airtight container that they seem to have been having. I'm not
Fane.
exactly sure how. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
mm,
Oh, Fane will land at this point.
mm.
Yeah, Fane, you touch down to your fellow court members and a runner gathered around a destroyed caravan. There's a billowing smoke plume you saw on your way over that from your angle in you saw looked like a massive bonfire. And there were some figures around it, the scale of which definitely made them look not the same size as your compatriots.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hello there, Fane. You happen to see anything interesting on your fly over here?
and she's going to like swallow hard. Uh, there's an encampment of giants around a bonfire not far from here.
You didn't see anything else other than giants?
Did I see anything else other than giants?
No, just big old bonfire, bunch of giants, usual quiet mountains besides that. But, Fane, those last few words you say of giants nearby here feel like your lower jaw's rumbling the slightest bit as you say it. In fact, all of you are feeling just the slightest bit of tremoring rhythmically.
Someone's coming back.
What do we know about giants generally?
You all? There are stories, but not
Yeah.
really a whole lot. Just that they tend to stay up in the northern mountains. The stories say they are violent, aggressive, rude, nonsensical, stupid creatures who will attack and tear apart anyone who comes nearby their territory.
I think that Fane actually probably would have personal experience with giants because I imagine that harpies are both like have like a symbiotic adversarial relationship with giants.
Mhm.
Like we pick through their trash
Mm-hmm.
and eat stuff that they won't eat.
Fair enough. In which case,
You're
both-
bigger than normal people, but you're basically crows to the size of a giant.
Fair enough. In which
Yeah.
case, both you and our house historian, who has done some research on giants in the past, would definitely have some info on them in the following. Fane, what you would know from your experience with giants in your homeland, which are not, it's not from the Gilded Coast, but you know they're giants. You know, so probably a bit different. But from what you understand, the giants you encountered with were nomadic folk. They traveled along these great plains lands and sort of occasionally dipping into these massive boreal forests for sort of like a resting season occasionally. Overall, they were. No one would call them warlike. They're not overly aggressive at all. They certainly defend their territories ruthlessly, and they have massive appetites. Thankfully, the plains provide huge herds of massive grazing beasts that they tend to hunt and make use of every part of for their nomadic lifestyle. So they tend to not have too many encounters with other mortal races or things like that, as they kind of just do their own business. But again, that'd be the giants that you know. So you can feel free to share that info as you would like, and any other info that might be, say, relevant to more local giants could be shared by someone who knows it.
Yeah, I'll repeat some. My experience with giants was never one of violence, but clearly that's not the case here for whatever reason. It seems strange that they would, one, take notice of a caravan, and two, be so far from the plains where they normally roam. I would hide.
Obviously not that much about hunger. I would hide. It's obviously not about food. They left a lot of the meats and spices here. I know that's not really a sizable portion to them, but still.
There are some.
Character. Oh, go ahead.
There have been instances where, if you're skilled enough to do so, you can negotiate with them for travel. But most of the stories are that, yes, they are in the mountains every now and then, that they will attack caravans.
Well, this is the question then. Is this our problem? Like, how well do the townsfolk have themselves defended? At this point, they're attacking Dimitri carts. I'm not that concerned.
This is a problem that will get worse if we don't interfere.
How many did you see while you were in the air?
3?
You saw maybe 3 or 4 around the bonfire, yes.
There were 3 or 4 at the bonfire that I could see, but that doesn't mean there aren't more.
I've seen them travel in as many as 12 before social structure breaks down.
Interesting. Can I maybe do some tracking with the great big footprints around here to like get a sense of maybe how many there were?
Sure. Why don't you give me some kind of roll for that?
Yeah, I just assume it is perception unless you want me to do
Perception is
survival.
totally fine.
Yeah.
Fair enough. With a 17, I'll say you notice that the way the footprints seem to have been gathered around here indicates at least 2 giants attacked this place. Doesn't seem like any more than 2 hit this place, though. Hit this caravan.
Well, it might be doable. I'm not familiar with giants, but it seems like something like 2 to 3. 2 were here, probably. Just, is there a way we can maybe convince them to not mess with the town and just continue to attack these cards?
Hey, friends. I hate to be the pushing along the scene, but footsteps are getting a lot closer. Whatever the call
I
is.
take to the skies.
To the
If they're on
sky.
Vairdans, there is
Right.
there's no talking with them. I'm gonna be honest.
All right, well,
Lots of higher brain functions tend to fly out the window when you're on it.
we don't know if they're on it yet. We're gonna have this conversation as like Airdrie just starts pulling Dio to like cover, kind of
Yeah.
obliquely away from the footsteps, so like to the right and sort of trying to circle the center of the sound. Be like, we can talk about this later. It's fine.
And
I assume the
guess-
runner is following me.
And that also just leaves. Well, yeah, the runner will follow you, and that just leaves Lydia. What's your plan here?
Lydia will find cover, but she does have an inherent goal of she wants to observe what happens.
Fair enough.
If whether or not the giant sticks around or giants stick around the caravans, if they're moving more southward towards the town, what the behaviors are.
And it's as you all dive for cover, almost immediately afterwards, incredibly close actually, that you see 2 massive lumbering figures begin to just waltz their way towards the caravan. Both are far larger than any of the trees or even some of the low hills you can see around, each standing maybe a good 15 to 16 feet on average, perhaps, by the way you're looking at them. They are titans of figure, plump and round and well-fed, plenty of muscle and body moving and jiggling as they move around. They are armored in only the most barest sense. One, a large metal plate of some kind you think might have been a cauldron they just cut open, clasped over a shoulder. Another has a sort of half-plate helm of some kind, a rough sort of metal shape of metal, bone, and rough stone fastened around their head. They walk forward, lumbering, and begin to sort of ambly stop at the caravan and start to kind of just pick about it. One of them picks up a cart and starts to kind of shake it upside down, and as you're listening, the one holding a cart starts to speak up. Oi! You said it's shiny in here still. I don't sees it. Another one says, I know I saws it. Particular shiny, big one, real big. I saws it, but that a horseman, I wanted him too bad. Ran off after him. We should find it, before someone else does. I bet those tinies over in that little loud place over there have got it. We could walk over there and smash him up real good. The other one says, Boss said don't bother them for a while. I don't want to piss her off. Give me 1 second to roll a die, actually, that I forgot to roll, because this is going to inform a lot of what happens next. Oh, okay. One of them leans down. The one that kind of like has the cart, he's looking in it. You see him just chucks the cart. It goes off over the mountain, and you don't see it. Just
Team Rocket blasting off again.
Oi! He hits the other one hard enough that like the ground kind of rumbles around you all. I smell something. Something living.
Thane, who is out of their reach for the moment, will call out. Turn back. You're going to leave the town nearby alone, and you're going to take us to meet with your boss.
The one formerly holding the cart looks up. Oi! It's under them harpy things. Ain't had bird in a good bit. The other one thumps him really hard on the head, loud enough that the ground shakes even harder a bit. Cut it! Boss said no fighting unless she says. Besides, this one's got mouth. One of them, negotiating types. We bring him back to boss, eh? The other one says, very loudly, much far louder than a giant needs to be in earshot of you, Thane, because you heard them perfectly fine when they were just talking, but a yell loud enough to shake the entire valley you are all in starts to go out. Just, Oi! Birding! Come on out here!
I can follow you just fine from where I am.
You got friends?
Elsewhere?
Does that mean? Means they're not here. What are they doing not here? Hell if we know, idiot. Hits him hard again. Aight. And he turns and starts to shamble its way back up the mountain pass they were going. The other one slowly starting to follow behind. The second one does stop, pick up the fourth cart, and begin to take it with him and pick through it as he fumbles with it. Doesn't seem like they've noticed.
What are they doing not here? Sorry, that just sent me into shambles. The fuck are they doing not here?
Listen, all right?
I get this image of Rio legitimately was going to laugh, and Airdrie had to be like...
Doesn't seem like they noticed the three of you, though, at all.
Oh, good. I'm going to have the turn to the runner. Go back, get everybody you can to be guarded at the wall in case this goes south. Go for their eyes, generally, is the best option I have for you. Godspeed.
Or the nape of the neck.
Their eyes? I would have gone for their ankles. You know, like the fucking the tendon, a Carly's tendon.
It's definitely not what it's called, but also, like, we can talk about tactics on the way. And
I didn't know if Achilles existed in this world.
It's
so
canon.
that's why
It's
I
too
kinda,
late. You
like,
did it. It's
changed
canon. It's called the Acarles now.
no, it's called Achilles. Yeah, it's a guy called Achilles.
There it is. It's canon
He
now.
lost a great big battle because somebody stabbed him in the little tendon there.
That's the Acarles
Anyways,
tendon.
Something about a river when he was a kid. I don't fucking know.
Okay.
Not important.
I can't.
Stop. Hold
Not
on.
important.
To Lydia. Are you following us, or do you have other options here?
I'm following you. Or wait, you guys are heading towards the camp, right?
Yes. I guess I mean, do you have a magical means of doing this or not?
I don't really have much of a means outside of I can do things to conceal myself.
Well, I think I'll have it covered this time. And we can head out, and Airdrie is going to do Pass Without a Trace, just so everyone has a little extra shadow cover.
Absolutely. So
We're going to follow.
Mm-hmm. You all move.
Not hard.
Thane, obviously, and the rest of you, not so obviously, following behind the two giants. One of them, the sort of slightly more portly of the two, heads into what looks like a large sort of rocky incropping, which has been kind of dug out into a massive sort of pit with a huge blazing fire behind it. But as this giant ducks down under an outcropping and moves in, we can see some other large figures sitting around it. And holding entire horse carcasses up over the fire in their bare hands and slow roasting them. While that one goes in, the other giant, the one who threw the cart, stops, turns around, and like plops down in front of the archway, looking up to where it sees Fane circling, and again, loud enough to cause several tremors in the ground, just slams on the ground next to him several times. I guess I will cut the footsteps now, huh?
I will probably not land where his hands can get too easily, but maybe like on his shoulder.
You touch down on the giant's shoulder. You going for the one that has the cauldron on it, or the one that's bare?
Cauldron.
You clink down the cauldron, just oi! And just looks like
Now you can be eye level.
looks like he was thinking about swatting you, but something in his mental processing stayed his hand, and he just didn't.
I mean, if I had a crow just like come down and land on me, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel special.
Who
Bro
is
friend? Fuck yeah.
who is boss?
Boss Ungra.
Same size as you?
Bigger. Boss is the biggest, the baddest, the ogriest. We ain't even ogres.
Are y'all
They value ogreness. Very strong.
are you all from around here, or has this been a journey for you?
The spine's been home for centuries for us. We ain't been nowhere else.
Are giants common in this area?
Nope.
I thought we said they were uncommon.
Nope. Most people have never seen them. And you would know Lydia nearby loud, because this is loud to hear because giants aren't going to be quiet. The spine is, from research, and honestly, you'd probably know this too, Fane. The spine is the term the giants use for the Atam Mountains.
Mm-hmm. And we are... Can you ping the
Very
map
bottom
really
of it.
quick?
Y'all are about there-ish. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that vague area everybody just pinged around.
I loved the cascade of ping.
It
Everybody's pinging.
Cat didn't get to see it, but it's fine.
was very funny.
It was like we dropped a bunch of water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any reason you're this far south?
The giant takes a peek out and says, Boss moves camps every few moons or so. We came down here for a little bit. Boss told us, keep an eye on the carts and the little wheel things going by for a while. And when one of them went by a day or two ago, Boss said to eat it.
Very well.
Efficiently followed
Does this mean I'm going to get an audience with boss?
Fane, you feel a bit of movement as the giant shrugs both of his shoulders and just, up to boss. It's as he's saying that you hear a few more footsteps as the other giant slowly shambles their way out under from the archway back over to you all. Leans down and just says, Boss ain't taking visitors.
Oh, that's deeply inconvenient because I'm not leaving before we've spoken to her. Try again. Try harder.
That one blinks, looks to his friend. Friend just shrugs again. Fane still on shoulder. Giant turns back. Shambles its way back under the archway. There's an awkward moment of silence between the two of you.
Lovely weather these days.
Looks up. I like rain.
Silence.
That's it. It's just
I
so
don't know
quiet
what
for a while.
Yeah, I don't know what Rio and Airdrie and I can't remember the
Lydia.
third
There you
name.
go.
Fucking Lydia.
Lydia.
Gotcha.
Would be doing during this time, just
Up
like
to y'all.
probably
Following
like
them.
moving under like like the deafening noise of like their movements and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Airdrie's plan would be to probably just get within wherever Thane is and keep up with her. Be able to like assist her at any moment and is sort of following her lead. But if you guys want to do something else,
I'm gonna say you all can definitely kind of easily find yourselves under or like next to behind the cover of a rock that's almost like the giant is leaning on it as a hand rest, it's sort of like an arm rest. You are all comfortably on the other side of it. It's the giant, unless he deliberately goes looking around, probably isn't gonna notice any of the three of you, other than the one who is literally on his shoulder right now, who was sitting comfortably in a quiet moment of silence between two people
Yeah.
of the world. And
so can we see other giants around or?
oh yeah, as you're looking in the camp, you can easily see the moving about figures of 2 or 3 more giants. There's an area shaded over by some massive tree branches and other limbs that looks like it's probably where the boss is staying, and you can't really see into there at all. But outside of those 3 or so, another one who you assume is probably the boss, so that's 4. There's the giant you see currently outside, and there's another one you can see off on top of a mountain nearby. They have a massive, you call it a javelin in a normal, if it were human size, but it looks more like it's just a tree trunk that's been sharpened. And they just kind of have it and are almost sort of scouting / keeping lookout for any threats or anything like that. You're sitting in this quiet for a good bit. The next sound you hear is a clap like thunder, like an explosion almost. It's just this rumble as something smashes into something else incredibly fast and incredibly loudly. The next thing you all notice is something roughly 16 or 17 meters tall, or feet tall, go sailing above your heads and crash into a massive pile of rubble and debris, roughly 30 or 40 feet from the entrance to the archway. As the dust settles, it's the other giant. He looks up, his helmet shambling off, like angling off to one side of his head, with a mouth moving and teeth literally pouring out of it. Just, boss ain't taking visitors.
How far off from like the actual encampment are we at this
Y'all are
point?
right outside of it.
So we can visibly see how many other giants there are.
Mm-hmm. I'd say you have a count of 6 total, if you include this mysterious boss you can't see.
Did we see where the giant that went to talk to the boss disappeared to talk with the boss?
Yeah, under that little tree
Yeah,
area.
there's a tree.
Which is now, well, a shattering of debris and leaves, as, well, the giant was thrown
If we want to
the
go
roof of
speak
it.
to them,
Can I get an actual distance?
I'm gonna say roughly maybe, let's say you're probably about 10, maybe 30 feet from the like actual entrance to the cave, because these are giants, they have big old encampments. Unfortunately, the area where you assume the boss is on the other side of the camp, which wouldn't be that bad, where again it's a person-sized camp, but it's a giant-sized camp, so that's maybe a good 100, 120 feet minimum.
Thana's gonna call out to the giant who just got his clock cleaned and say, "Sounds like you need to keep trying."
He looks at his friend. I ain't getting hit again. friend looks over at you, Fane. Shrugs his shoulders again.
Then it's your turn.
He looks back at his friend. Looks back at you.
I can do much worse.
Listen, I'm Moongrow Bone Eater. I'm kind of second in command around here. Second biggest, second baddest, second ogreiest, if you ask me. The other one looks like he wants to pipe up. He cuts his eyes over. That one gets quiet again. Listen, boss is boss looks. He looks over. Just boss is busy, but I know you Litlins do what's the tierties, right? Where you write on those paper things and they got like rules and such y'all gotta follow. So tell you what, you go back to your Litlin chief. Tell your Litlin chief write up a tierty for boss, and then when I bring it to boss can't say no, cause it's official.
Love these giants.
You know how boss is the biggest and the baddest and the ogreiest
And the ogreiest.
among your crew?
Hmm?
That's
me among mine.
Hmm.
On the bushes.
I can hear you, and I shoot a glance over to you in the exact same way. Consider my presence the offering of a treaty. Or I could, and can I just like use magic to write a treaty here?
You know what? Give me an Arcana.
Okay. Wee.
Oof!
It's not great.
Oof! With the 9. Okay, here's how I'm gonna flavor this. Actually, here's what's gonna happen. Fane, you or I could whip your wrist and a scroll of paper almost like manifests, and then you could see scribblings being like writings being manifested on it. Like it just becomes a fully out, full written treaty, full declaration. The seal of House Vairdans at the bottom of it. It looks almost official, like too good to be plagiarized. The giant looks amazed. Like he's like, yeah, okay, all right, I'm sold on that. I'll take it, no question. He turns like he's about to get up and go see boss. You hear thunder again, arguably louder than when that last giant got decked, except it's a word this time. No!
Do I have a pretty good mark on where that voice is at this point?
Yep. It's funny, over by the tree canopy, where all the dust and debris is finally settling from the roof getting knocked the fuck out, you can see it's a massive cavern. It's like a huge, maybe 50, 60 foot tall, 40, 50, 60 foot wide space. Except it's not just a dugout, it's carved in the shape of a seat. And taking up just about the entire bulk of it is not mountain or stone, which you almost think it is given the size. It's flesh. Boss is big.
Big lady.
Big lady.
Big lady.
Okay.
What do you do?
I'm gonna fly close, and quickly, and are they humanoid enough that charm person would work?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it definitely. Yeah, they're humanoid enough. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Yeah, no question.
I'm gonna try to charm this
All right.
very large person. It's a wisdom save of 14.
All right, here comes a wisdom saving throw.
Edre, it feels like maybe we need to position ourselves in case this goes very wrong.
Yeah, I think while this is kind of been happening, Real would be like, so how how tough is their skin? Like, can it? Is
I
it
don't
like
know.
stone? Cause like my knives can't like go through stone, but like you said that their eyes are the weak spots, which I mean kind of makes sense. But like,
Oh, that's just generally good
I
advice to
don't.
give anyone fighting someone bigger than them.
Lydia,
That's
you
fair.
would know through research that giants tend to not have like incredibly like durable or like stone like skin or anything like that. Uh, in fact,
Ba-
most stories say that arrows will land in them just fine. They just tend to not give much of a shit when they do. Also, she rolled a 4.
Opa!
So,
And the first thing I'll say is, why not?
uh,
What this looks like. Sorry,
yes,
let's think what
please,
this looks like
yes, most
because
important.
I swoop in front of her and while I'm still in the air, you see we get the close up like on the area near my eye. You get this like glowing glyph as I kind of look at her. She gets a mirror glyph like showing up on the surface of her eye. Um, and as long as we're having this conversation, like between the two of us, we can both see that this glyph is here. Um, but nobody else can. Why not?
You hear a rumble from inside. Sleepy.
I will be very quick, and you will be able to get back to your eating and your uh, sleep very soon. I promise.
There is a rumble, a loud belly rumble from inside the cavern. You're not on the ground, but you can sort of see the way it kind of vibrates the area a bit. Coming out from the relative shade of the outcropping, now coming up to a bit of a height, there's just about 60 or so feet of woman, just huge. Like, yeah. So big that she now comes up over some of the mountains in this in the rough area behind her. She puts a single hand down on some of them, brings her body up so that she is now just about eye level with you. Brings her other hand up. There is a tree trunk in it, massive tree trunk that from the end of it looks like it's just been drilled straight through. There's a huge open hole in it, and it's been stuffed with bushes of some kind, like massive, huge clumps of bush and dirt. She snaps her fingers, a torrent of flame erupts from the tip of it. She lights that to one tip end of it, and just proceed. As you are presented with
Really?
Ungera Boneater, matriarch of the Boneater clan.
Love to be with a huge lady smoking trees.
Whole tree.
It's smoking
A
tree.
whole ass tree. Smoking tree.
Uh,
Not the California kind.
were the caravan that you took from earlier, any particular reason you took from that caravan?
Litlands made deal. Didn't pay.
The people who flew that banner made a deal with you and didn't pay you.
The yellows.
Is Metri's colors yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say I got
Understandable. Do you have any intention of making attacks on any of the cities nearby?
Too sleepy now. When hungry?
I understand that you are tired now. If I sent an emissary later to make an official treaty with you, Would you be open to that? We really just want to make sure that you are safe and our friends in the village are safe.
She inhales again, exhales a near gale force amount of smoke and wind directly at you.
Do I have to be worried about getting high from this?
Probably.
Okay.
She says, "You make Tierney? You have food?"
Potentially.
How
Or at
much?
least consider it more of designated hunting grounds.
Designated. Only we go?
Your own space.
She looks over. There's another giant coming up to about her waist, looking right next to her. And looks up. "You thinking, boss?" She knees him in the stomach. He collapses. She looks over at you. Send your Emery. Make Tierney. Give me hunt grounds.
Very well. I don't want to play out how that treaty works on screen, but I think it's not going to be through House Vairdans. I think it's going to be through the Enclaves.
Absolutely, and we'll work that out. And I think the way we'll sort of settle that scene before I let you all get back together and talk about what just happened, obviously, is the giant matriarch, after this is said, just begins to lean back down, very clearly as in, I'm done talking to you now. In fact, you can even already see her eyes beginning to close. You turn and begin to leave. The other giants don't really bother giving you a parting or anything. In fact, the one who's laying on the ground there seems to have just fallen asleep in the pile of debris he collapsed into. He just doesn't seem to have bothered to get up. As you're parting, you hear another rumble from the matriarch. She looks to the giant she kneed next to her and just... Hate talking so dumb to those small ones. Wish they just talked a bit more intelligently, I swear. They just never seem to understand things. It's infuriating, really. And then she kind of closes her eyes and begins to nod off. And yeah, Thane, you fly off to the rock. Where your three friends are. You easily noticed where they are, given you heard Airdrie complain a bit earlier. The giant who's armresting that rock has gone and laid his head down on it and is sleeping. Rio, a single drop of giant drool falls out of his mouth and just splashes down on top of all your person. You are covered in giant drool now. It's really gross and doesn't smell great either, honestly.
Not for you, I guess. Yeah, okay.
Usually when I say I'm getting dirty for work, this is not how I mean. He'll kind of just shake himself, just trying to get as much of it off as he can as quickly as possible. He'll also just like take his overcoat off, kind of slap it up against the rock.
You hear pretty loud from the giant above you as you slap the rock really hard, but it's just a snore.
And immediately like moving away from where he got hit. Like, fuck that shit.
And yeah, we'll say that you four are all gathered and can start, without having to roll stealth or anything, you can make your way out of the encampment. Giants are pretty heavy sleepers, it turns out. So, as the night wanes on...
And I'm using magic.
Exactly. So, thanks to the magic of Path Without Trace and Giant's ridiculous metabolism, you guys are all able to make it your way out of the mountain pass and out of the encampment without too much of a problem. It's now firmly in the middle of the night. Like, most of the town noise and light has dimmed to a quiet of peace and sleep. It's very late in the day at this point. But for the most part, you all still have that rune back in your room you can use whenever you feel appropriate. The night is, well, yours.
I just want the end of that exchange is Thane folding up a piece of vellum with written instructions to Llewellyn.
She takes it, looks up, it down a bit.
Oh, I fold it up and I turn it into a bird and I throw it because
Oh.
I assume she's off elsewhere.
Yeah, she's off elsewhere. Fair enough. Well, elsewhere in the distance, as a sort of cutaway scene, you'll see as that bird arrives sometime in the future, Llewellyn just, orders from Milady. Takes it, opens it, cocks an eyebrow. Uh-huh. I'll take that up with the court then. And just walks down the road still, shaking her head almost nonsensically. Just, okay. And yeah, we'll pass it all back to you over, to you all.
Well, now that there's not an emergency happening, hopefully the treaty works fine. Do we want to get rested before we use this teleporter? Portal, this whatever it is?
I mean, we can. It would help me not have to wake up my men and women to be like, wake the fuck up, we're teleporting elsewhere. I mean, we'd
Also,
probably do
part
it
of the
better
question I
than that.
have is, do we bring other soldiers with us? It's much easier for me to cover all of us stealthily. We don't know if we'll be in a position we can set them up. It might be in the middle of their
It's
entire stronghold,
probably
for all
will
we
be
know.
in the middle of their base of operations, so I'm not sure how well we will be able to kind of slip in under the radar. But
I'm open to suggestions.
unfortunately, it seems like it's sink or swim about now, and I forgot my pool floaties. So I said it. I finally was able to say it.
All right.
Incredible.
You did it.
I don't know what these pool floaties are, but sure.
So, hey, I can't swim. Don't worry about that. That's a me issue.
Out of character. What are you? Some kind of Western RPG protagonist?
It can't.
Kids.
Here to save the world, can't fucking swim.
Listen, you can't have every skill, all right?
No, Rio's saying that to fuck with Airdrie again.
In either case, here's what I think we'll do to keep the narrative flow moving, as I think we've memed and dreamed enough now. I'll let you all decide on what the final plan is in a bit of an intermission, as we're just about a little past the 2 hour mark. So let's get a quick little break in. Let us gather our bearings, as we're no longer ending as early as we thought we were. Let's set up for a nice conclusory hour to go, or maybe half hour about so. Let's take 5 or so to grab drinks and other things. That includes you folks at home. And we'll all be right about back. That sound cool? Okay,
Sounds like a
plan.
And we return. Welcome back to the conclusion of today's session of After the End, where we last left off. Our heroes encountered Clan Bone Eater, a massive group of
a hardcore name.
Giants with a pretty hardcore name, living out in the northern mountains, who appear to have some beef with the Metri for some deal they might have gotten two-timed on. Alas, Thane was able to use the diplomatic solution to ensure that you all walked away in one piece, uneaten, as it were. And you were able to negotiate a way for the towns nearby this area to not be subjected to rampant giant attacks. The next day, the morning, finds you all gathering and preparing to, well, activate this magical rune of yours. You are gathered around the table. Your attendants have taken their care to make sure you are all ready to go and set in stone and everyone's ready. But I understand, as the plan was, you are not taking any other troops or members of your court with you. Just the 4 of you and Morgan. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, The amount of people that it would take to be practically defensible is more than the bubble can take. Otherwise, we just bring people to maybe die with us.
I just noticed I said at the end it's against the light. Thanks, Furman. I appreciate you. Fuck. Don't run two campaigns simultaneously, friends. It breaks your brain. In any case, my blunders aside, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just put you all right here. You are around the table. The rune is not too far from Morgan, who is conscious. They are awake now, still resting, but they are capable of sitting upright and in a chair without too much issue, and probably even standing without too much of trouble. You wager the night's rest they got was definitely pretty helpful for them, although they undoubtedly look very, very weak. It's, they have a few days left before this transformation of theirs consumes them. Their skin is pallid and flaky in places. Their hair is beginning to mat and clump up and feel very covered in not sweat, but some other gross ichor-like substance. It feels unnatural. The only other thing I'll mention, and this is just a little thing that might be worth it, as you were heading back, Faye, you noticed just the strangest little bit of magic clinging to and around Lydia. It's not harmful magic. No one's cast a spell on her. But there is a lingering presence all around her. And that was last night. The morning, it's gone. By the morning, it's sort of settled and you don't really feel it around her anymore. But it was definitely a thing. And she didn't appear to be walking any differently, or in fact, there appeared to have a little bit of a spring in her stride that she didn't really have on the way back, or on the way out.
Okay. Good to know.
So we'll leave you four here, around the table, facing the room with Morgan prepared, and we'll drop you all in scene there. You all know that you can use the latent Medusa magical presence within Morgan to activate this rune and teleport to what you assume will be where Ithrika is stationed, and you can do so whenever you feel appropriate. Scene is yours, loves. Have fun.
I mean, Edre basically has all the stuff he ever takes with him anywhere. Doesn't need a lot, so he's just prepping weapons, checking belts, stuff like that.
Rio would definitely be in more of his work attire, I guess you could call it. It's more of just like a long, almost trench coat that's like a dark, almost blood stained coat, and just gloves, kind of just ready for whatever may come.
Ready for the beef, as it were.
Yep.
Thane has doffed her normal black robes and is wearing her. She's wearing the garb of office that she has as an anchorite, and so there's a lot of white cloth shot through with streaks of purple and green embroidery, showing trees and arcane sigils, and it is a very different look. Yeah.
That's wise. We could be attempting to look more official, and Airdrie just puts on his official jacket, and that's literally all he does.
Oh, I'm getting official. Put my jacket on.
Yeah, it's a nice military jacket. And he's like, he will rip it if he has to fight in it, but like,
I guess that just lasts.
There are dozens on the inside. There are just dozens of stitches from where you've popped the sleeves before.
It's not even like he's big, it's just he is extremely dramatic and flexible, so it's like the jacket's not meant to do the both forward motions thing,
big,
man.
I'm just dramatic. I'm sorry, that's great.
Yeah.
I guess that just...
Andre.
That last leaves Lydia. How are you preparing for this adventure of all of yours?
Namely just making sure that things are in order. Since it is the morning, we are sending off the rest of our troop with Lady Naori back to Westreach.
Mm-hmm.
So, just kind of making sure we have all of our affairs in order.
Sorry.
Deciding on a way to communicate and what would be a reasonable time frame. If you don't hear word from us, then react accordingly, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you probably established a timeline of. Well, you were given. You know that you had about 7 or so days in total before Morgan transformed, and so a rough timeline is set around there, roughly about anywhere from like 5 to 7 days. If there is no contact, send out scouting parties and try to begin to worry. Effectively, is the rough establishment of contact there. Other than that, yeah.
Other than that, Lydia usually looks professional. She's usually in dress attire.
Always boss bitch ready.
Only, yeah. That's just how she is.
I ain't
The
mad
only
about it.
thing of note is, very rarely, and this is just something that she is doing at the moment just to make sure that she has it. Her gown actually does have a slit in it, so that there is a knife that the sling of it is basically wrapped around the thigh. And that's on both sides.
Have a thigh knife, yes.
Don't tell me on too much.
I just love how they're
It's-
dramatic. Ha!
You would know that she usually uses like magic to actually defend herself, but it's a last resort kind of thing.
Sometimes a lady needs a knife. All right, I think more women should have knives on their thighs. Personally, I think
Listen.
we should normalize that. Personally, in my opinion, but we can talk about
Exactly.
political opinions later.
Political opinion.
My axiom, as it were. In any case,
Rio will kind of just he'll pull out a smallish box almost, and say I had these procured up for a time where we may split up, and I don't exactly know what we'll encounter beyond this jump, and he will pull out some like small, almost like it looks like it would clip around the ear, but they're sending stones, and they're all kind of linked up in this little mesh. And there's one that looks very different from the others, and it's specifically for Fane to adapt to her very non-humanoid ears and stuff. And so he'll kind of hand them out. And he'll kind of explain. There is one downside, is that only one person can be speaking at a time, so if we all try to say something, no one will hear.
it's like talking in real life.
Yeah.
I think that just translates to Fane is wearing a diadem instead of putting it in her ears, because there's nothing to hang it on.
Yeah.
They're all tucked in.
Just like
Make
a
it
little
fashionable.
now.
Make it fashionable with some earrings. Like
Make it work. Make it work, honey. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this. I don't think harpies can wear earrings. There's no lobes.
Furman's like, I've done the
think they
science. I'm gonna wait for 72 hours.
It's not just like a,
Just
like
wait
a
until I have
yeah.
a whiteboard. I'm just gonna turn to the whiteboard and you'll see all these notes about fucking harpies.
Oh god. All right. I've been demanded to clip this. So
Victor
I have
has a
to.
board, has like a section of his board specifically dedicated to harpy biology.
No, he doesn't need to. Yeah,
Fair enough.
All right. So before we get to
Everything's on
Airdrie's
the
conspiracy board again.
no, that's
Because
part of
everything's
the
on
conspiracy.
once a session, it has to
Once
be
it
brought
has,
up.
there's a quota. Oh god. All right. Well.
We're
you're-
adding
He
giants
just
to the
looked at his
conspiracy
friend.
board.
Yeah, of course. You gotta put
just-
giants on the
just went
board.
on it though. For sure, giants went up there, but not harpy ears. He could just look to his friend he works with and be like, "That's what harpy. They don't have them." Yeah. End of
Yeah.
board.
End of board.
All right. In any case, we move forward. The rune is there and ready for y'all to activate whenever. So
Yeah, I was just gonna ask around. All right, so are we prepared?
Yep.
About as ready as I'll ever be.
Then just
Thank
gesture
you,
to
Morgan.
Morgana. No, Morgan.
Is it Morgan or Morgana? I thought it was Morgan.
It's Morgan then. You're the one who made this name
It's
up.
Morgan, friend.
I'm just being bad at names.
Fair enough. Being a little bit dramatic.
Morgan with the they them pronouns.
Yes. Morgan with the fucking fuck. I don't know why that was
Them.
funny. Oh fuck. Fuck. Okay, I gotta get it together, guys. Okay. So Morgan brings their hands forward, places one on either side of this piece of bark with this inscription written on it. And you can all feel the air hum a bit around you. A rough sort of dome of force pushing outwards and extending around all of you. They, look up and around to the rest of you. And as you nod back, they concentrate. There is a feeling of collapsing, not shrinking, as if the space around you, all of it, including yourself, compacts, like it just suddenly is less space. This happens in the blink of a microsecond before you are gone completely. A flash of bright blue-white light, and you resolve yourselves into a cold, dank cavern. You can hear the mountain wind blowing just outside of a mouth not far from you. In front of you, or as you are standing, is a large pavilion, a massive circle of stone in a lake of off green and blue. And all about this area, lining the sides of this massive chamber you are in, are statues. Not animated or in poses. Each is perfectly still. Hands up, eyes turned high, mouths wide in joyous supplication. And there are dozens of these statues all about you. And just in front, a stone path that arcs up and down across the water line like a coiling serpent.
There any people around? Is it just this?
Just this
Place.
pavilion. There's nobody immediately around.
Well, I suppose the respectful thing to do would be to walk.
Yes.
You may wish to. Rio will begin he'll kind of turn around and look for any runes that look like they had been recently activated, or he'll look for the rune that they will need to jump back to where they had come from.
It's on the floor. Beneath you, on the pavilion you're standing on, there is a ring of circles, about 20 of them in total. One of the circles in the ring of them is lit up and it fades rapidly as you all arrive.
Rio will
Making a
put
note.
he'll take a little chalk and kind of put a
Mark it.
line at that one. So it's just hey, so for when we need to dipski and the lipski, we'll know which one to use.
What you need to what?
You not
Is that in character? I kind of want Airdrie to read. I've never heard that in my life.
Character.
I'm demanding it's in character, actually.
I have of just
Yeah.
yes, the whatever you said. I can't believe I'm saying that was technically a smart sentence. The thing you said just now.
Oh, I love this session.
Mm-hmm.
This campaign.
Well, to the
Oh, fuck.
group, shall we? There's a somewhat obvious way forward, I think.
The instant you all
I don't see
look
any paths.
down that way, you see some robed figures moving in your direction. They are hooded, and they are humanoid, moving in a simple shuffling pattern back and forth towards you, quickly with their heads down. As they get closer, the lead two pick their heads up, stop. They look like they're going to panic for a minute as they see a gathering of people who are clearly not what they expected, but they look directly at one of you, one in the back specifically. Well, the one not represented by the 4 people here who's a player, obviously.
Yeah.
And just says, outsider, outsider, outsider. They begin to repeat in a sort of not rhythmic chanting.
I make a minor illusion of the banner of House Vairdans.
Ooh.
It appears behind you, a literal almost ghost image of a stag kind of shambles into the mouth of the cave. As it reaches just behind Fane, it preens its head forward proudly, wreaths kind of angling around it, and then almost leaves just the imprintation of its head and the wreath, forming the symbol of House Vairdans, and a banner quickly unfurling behind it. The symbol, very obvious and incredibly grandiose. They stop their chanting, turn to each other a bit, look back at you all, and make a separate sort of like path straight through. The last 2 in the row hold out their hands down the way. To the mistress, to the mistress, to the mistress, to the mistress. They all begin to whisper.
I mean, Andrew's going to keep an eye on them, but he'll walk forward.
Yeah.
We don't
Ariel's
have to
gonna-
roll anything for that if you don't want us to.
No,
He's
you're
just
fine.
gonna
I mean,
Yeah.
if you want, if you feel like, if you
watch.
if you want to roll some insight or some investigation to like get a better sense of like what's up with these folks, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, we're gonna keep ourselves moving.
Definitely roll that insight then. Of just, all right, there's a certain amount of stabby cult energy here that Airdrey's not happy about. But
Well, with the 23, Airdrey, you notice as you're passing, these are all, folks of various sentient mortal ancestries. Humans, orcs, an elf or 2. You notice some other species you're certain aren't native to the Gilded Coasts at all. None of them appear feminine presenting. They all look, most of them at least look to present rather masculine. None of them look like Medusa. They look like perfectly mortal beings. They have this look in their eye. It's not listlessness, but a sort of glaze. And they all kind of just stand there. They look at you as you look at them. Don't say anything, though.
yeah, it doesn't help the stabby cult energy at all, but
Look over all of them because Lydia's kind of doing the same thing and engaging what this situation is, taking in obviously everything in the corridor, the people who are now who were so apprehensive but are now ushering them forward, and I want to see if there's anything going on with them. I'll either roll Arcana or we can use Detect Magic, whichever you prefer.
I'm going to take Detect Magic for this one. It's easy to tell that there is a sort of some kind of charm effect being applied to them. It's not a sort of high level intense one, not the kind of thing where it's like do whatever I say, like you are compelled to, but more just like a allure, glamour almost. What catches you the most interestingly about it is that it's the kind of spell would have to be recast frequently, and with the extent to which it would have to be recast, these people would have to be cycling back in to get it recast on them willingly, you think.
Rolls, yes.
That is certainly curious. Wonder.
Oh,
And I'm gonna do another spell here. I'm gonna actually cast Detect Thought on
Ooh.
one or a couple of these lads.
Sure. No
Uh,
problem.
These mad lads.
These mad lads. It's a
These snaky boys.
DC 17.
Oh, yeah, they nat one. I'm not even going to bother with that. That's just not a reality we're living in. So as you peer through the thick curtain of thought, there's this haze about their outer thoughts that makes surface thoughts really hard to kind of get. You move through that without too much trouble. There's a coiling presence about their thoughts and feelings, but beneath all that, there is this love, this adoration, this fixation almost. And no matter which one you peer into, it is all for one woman. Ithrika.
I was actually gonna ask, and I'm not good at history, so if you want me to roll to not know this, but is this like a thing that happens somewhat often? Like, magic is fairly common, and friends is a pretty easy to do spell. Like, is this kind of actual magical brainwashing super rare?
I would say Airdrie, just as an elf and someone who's been around magic enough with a long enough life, spells like this you've definitely seen before. This is not super uncommon. There's a, without even being, no, I'll even say that Airdrie, this seems to you like magic you've seen before, like a standard charm person, friends, something like that. Lydia, you would know that where the standard spell that might be represented in game as like charm person or friends is a spell that like anyone that's magically inclined could learn. There's a nuance, an intricacy to the way this spell is working that implies someone very, very much knows their stuff.
I would suggest we be wary moving forward.
Exactly put me at ease.
Yeah, there wasn't anything behind their eyes. Or at least not much.
We're definitely going where they're pointing, right?
Mm-hmm. I imagine it's up there. You head down
Where
the
else
path.
is there to go?
It's a pretty straight, although there's some coiling and winding here, path down this long singular hallway. There are a path that arcs away left and right down to other chambers in places where lots of figures, other ones of these thralls, appear to be moving about. Some are tending to statues, others appear to be praying, others still are running about and moving things in place and attending to things. In fact, as you look down in the distance, you can see, at least in one room in particular, it's almost like a haze, a sauna-like haze. And you see a figure lying in there, lithe and effeminate, and resting in a large plush throne with several thralls all about her, tending to the coils in her hair with slow, gentle presses. Some are offering small bits of meat to them. Others are messing with the curls in her gown, slowly ironing them out with their hands over and over again over the same exact spot with their hands time and time again until they work out the creases with their bare hands alone. Others still are massaging her shoulders, and she has her eyes closed. Perfect bliss. The moment you cross that perfect perpendicular apex of seeing her, they snap open. She smiles, waves, and then ushers you all to keep going.
There is a small but audible gasp from Thane.
She doesn't say anything to any of you, though. And as you all pass, her eyes go close again.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna comment on it.
And
She's living her best life. Oh.
As you move your way through,
And
you
I'm
find
lucky.
yourself at the apex, a massive opening of a chamber again at the end of this hall. It's a garden. There's a cut into the mountain where sunlight beams perfectly into even rows, painting two gathering flower bushes of all kinds of violets and reds and oranges and yellows, a curtain of color. And all about this garden are statues again, but these are not the monoposed, supplicating poses you saw before. The figures you see as statues here are poised and statuesque, some in perfect monopose sort of positions, others holding high weapons like they're about to strike, others still are defending with shields high, some are in martial practice poses. Airdrie, you even recognize some of the forms perhaps. Hell, Airdrie, you might even recognize some of these people. Some of them are relatively well-known small folk heroes and soldiers from different factions and townspeople who might have gained small bits of notoriety here or there you heard about in your travels. You could easily place some of the faces. And there, across from you all, there's a figure. You can see the top of their torso is humanoid. Their hair is long and flowing down their whole of their form. It writhes and slithers as bright green pythons with checkered black patterns going down their backs. They hiss and snap at the air, tasting it. Her hands are long and clawed, and she places them against the headrests of the chair she's in. As you all enter the chamber, she rises, and beneath her, a long, flowing tail. She slithers her way towards you all. Yes. The form, the poise, the physique, yes. Alas, where are my manners? I have guests. Welcome, friends. I am called Ithrika, and I have been expecting you all for a great deal of time.
And you were aware of us.
Why, yes. Who would not be aware of the famed High Council of House Vairdans? Your actions spread far across the west. Soon all the Gilded Coasts will know of you. All of the Gilded Coasts. But, for the sake of formality, please introduce yourselves appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, Airdrie
Let me
would
look for my
step forward.
epithet.
Yeah, Airdrie would probably step forward and just Airdrie Tervant here. Now I forgot what kind of ranger you did. He said
Ranger
the
General.
was. Yeah, Ranger General. Expect nothing less.
She slithers forward much faster than she did before. Stops just in front of you, Airdrie. Teranietiar. Oh, an exquisite name. Yes. She slithers back a bit, around and away from you, and coils around the statue. She stops and shelters its face, which looks, well, to the rest of you all, kind of like the Ranger General, but, well, older. Definitely still an elf, though. Airdrie, it's definitely one of your ancestors. Just,
Out of curiosity, are there like holding weapons in their hands? Is it weapons made of stone, like to represent what they would have held at the time?
Well, there is certainly a stone blade in their hands. Whether it is the actual blade turned to stone or just a stone weapon, you wouldn't know. What's interesting, though, is that this ancestor of yours does not appear to be in what you would recognize as a battle stance. It's a stance most commonly used for show, for display, usually done at games or ceremonies. Sometimes very, very notable blade masters will even do it to impress mates.
Yes, the flirty pose. Airdrie's gonna very much like try not to react to any of this though. Just like even the rushing up forward is like, yeah, we're negotiating. She's talking. This isn't where an attack happens. He is gonna be like really curious about like which of his ancestors this is though. And it's like, you have a Tervantier here in your garden might be the right word.
She stops, begins to slither forward. Yes, I have sipped of this tree before. But you. She slithers forward more. Perfectly carved musculature. The forms I could place you in. Oh, there is a place for you here, certainly.
I want to do something here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and just cast this at a 5th level. And it's enhance ability. Charm is anything with charm. Is that a charisma or a wisdom?
I will say, for the sake of this, you know it's probably
Usually a
gonna
wisdom
be-
save.
It's gonna be, yeah, probably gonna be wisdom in this case. For this one, I actually, honestly, was gonna just probably play it off by ear, but whichever one you think sounds appropriate here, go for it.
I just traditionally mechanically how it works. Usually charisma prevents you from being banished, and wisdom prevents you from being charmed.
There you go.
Okay. So, wisdom then at least. So everybody has an advantage on their wisdom checks here.
She
Just to
Good.
handle with this thrall for a moment, just to make sure and cover our bases.
as the magic comes out, she'll preen back a bit, hiss a little, look directly at you, and you reek of death.
Well, I suppose I don't believe I can take that one as a compliment, Lady Ithrika.
Then I would hope you forgive my manners. And to whom am I speaking?
Lady Lydia Evermore. Although if you are aware of us in House Vairdans, then I can imagine you are aware of the council and their names.
Most certainly. As such, we will dispense with the rest of the formality. I am faced with the Ranger General, the High Historian, the Emissary, and the Master of Espionage. With company, I see. Company that might just belong to me. She cuts her eyes over to the 5th in your party.
Come to negotiate on those terms, actually.
I know. There are so many things you, could offer to me. Nonetheless, I will hear you. What bring you before me, Lady of the Loom?
Is that directed too?
That was all of you.
Yep.
She's calling herself Lady of the Loom. That was me.
I'm just gonna say out of character. Yeah, I don't. Airdrie's not going to be great at this kind of negotiation. Just as a person, he doesn't want to take point on this.
My lady, as you are aware, one of our colleagues has been inflicted with the initial stages of the Medusa poison. We come seeking your benevolence in aiding us in ensuring that she does not fall prey to its cold clutches, rather that she might survive. Or they might survive.
You seek
Okay.
mercy, then?
Possibly an understanding. We don't want to interfere with your dealings so long as they're not going to interrupt ours.
I would ask something of you before we negotiate. Madam Historian, is House Vairdans aware of the Everlight Church?
They are.
Other church people know that that's all.
And pray tell, what stance does the great house take on this expanding intrigue that is this religious order? How do you all and Madame Naori feel about the Crusader Lord and his forces?
We stand against the Crusader Lord and his church.
Fascinating.
We seek to protect and preserve our populace and perhaps free those that have fallen claim to it and that do not wish to be claimed. May I ask why you are curious?
No, you may not. Fascinating. House Vairdans stands against the church, and by my estimation, you are among the largest force in the Gilded Coast to do so. Your power is dwarfed many-fold by the Crusader Lord's forces, but you are the only swing at resistance this continent may have. Such interesting things. Tell me then, High Council, what would you give to see this one survive? I have many sisters. Certainly there are room for mistakes in our plans. Mayhap that's all this one was.
Well, that's a difficult thing to answer. What is it we have that you would value? I can give you information on troop movements across the continent, but I don't know that someone of your resources needs that sort of thing.
A soldier does not make a footfall anywhere in the Gilded Coast unless I am aware of it. I appreciate your admiration of my skills, but I will cut right to the chase. There is perhaps, maybe one thing the gathering of you could offer me. She slithers again, directly in front of Airdrie, holds out a finger, drags across the front of your shirt. This one.
Not in the habit of becoming a statue.
You wouldn't. For a while, at least.
You would have the intention of making him one of your thralls.
A warrior of this caliber, out in the world doing my bidding. How could a woman pass up? Yes? But when he's exhausted his usefulness to me, when I grow bored of this toy, I'll place him here, in my garden, with the rest. Perhaps next to his great-grandfather. I'll begin to make a set of him.
Some small dark joke in my body is like, well, you've missed like 2 already.
Don't give her ideas.
Great-grandfather? They're dead. No, Airdrie, we would like a reasonable offer. You can't expect us to simply trade human lives like chess pieces.
Such is the problem.
It's a living.
You are all so small-minded. You cannot see the larger games being played, the schemes being woven above all of your heads. Lives will need to be lost for what is to come. But alas, you all have your place in it. Here is my offer. I will take this one into my court. I will infuse her with the bits of magic I have left to create new Medusa. They will become part of my plans. In return, you will accept the aid of my court in your destruction of the Everlight Church.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but that sounds like we had all the leverage here and you had none.
She cocks a head at you.
It was own a person, so.
She cocks a head at you and just says, I love that you assume that.
I think this comes down to a decision on made by Morgan.
How very human of you. When it all boils down, you level the choice on the one most affected. Weakness.
It's not a weakness, it's providing somebody autonomy.
Autonomy is a weakness.
Or is it freedom?
Oh, how Clara didn't say.
Freedom is an illusion. A game played by weak-willed things who wish not to look up at all the dark things waiting between the stars. None of us have ever had freedom, little one. Some of us have simply hedged our bets with the right side. You'd be surprised who has. Wouldn't they? High historian.
Certainly is a curious thing to watch history unfold. I'm sure you could agree.
More than you know. Nonetheless, my terms are offered. Are they accepted?
I'd be interested in what Morgan had to say, actually. Like, RJ would turn to her.
Morgan
turn
has
to
been
them, sorry.
sitting there, finger dawdling and looking down the entire time from the moment Ithrika spoke.
Yeah. Well, also, they have a lot of information about like our own forces and tactics and stuff, so I think that they actually have a pretty good idea of like cost-benefit analysis here.
You all look over at Morgan, who recognizes that this is the time for them to speak up. They say, I must admit that our intel on what the church has to bring to bear fully is shockingly limited. I will accept on one term. No matter what happens, they hesitate for a bit. There was a seal your court placed on a member of ours. It disables them from speaking of whatever grand plan your court has. You will place a similar seal on me, ensuring that no matter what, I cannot speak of any intimate details of what I know of House Vairdans. If you gain that intel by other means, that is not my business. But I will not betray those who have been so very kind to me. If it pleases the High Council, of course, that is. And they wilt a bit again. The moment of charisma completely
Wise
gone.
choice.
Wing.
Aww. They very much just held into it as they've gotten used to the warmth of your body heat and are just accepting wing warmth right now.
I must say, I applaud you for your awareness and discretion, Morgan.
I listen to you all talk very often. You'll be surprised what a keen ear can bring to a curious mind.
We do have a question of the details of representing the Medusa in our court, having them as part of our military operations? Unclear.
Sorry, one more time.
I'm not exactly sure what the give and take here is politically with the Medusas.
Effectively, Morgan would join the Medusa court and stay with them, but they are saying that they would specifically ask for a seal to be placed on them so that they cannot out House Vairdans.
Sorry, I got that. It was her original thing of her and us having some amount of like political interaction.
Oh, effectively, they just they would like well, they haven't specified. All they've said is accept the court's aid in regard to that. But if you were asking Ithrika, you can do that.
Yeah, I'll say, Ithrika, I think that's agreeable, depending on the details of what you mean by aiding your court. If you're amenable to those details being negotiated after our friend was saved.
For you, I suppose I can be lenient. She slithers back a bit. Bring them. We have not much time. And they press a hand to the back of their throne. A panel of stone rumbles up, and beneath them is a massive capsule, or huge orb almost, filled with this very thinly glowing, bright red liquid. It's not blood, certainly not. It's too bright and viscous and humming with power to do so. What's almost as interesting is the massive snake-headed figure cupping and guarding like a statue over top of this massive orb. Ithrika looks to the orb, places a hand on it. I suppose this can't be avoided. She pulls in, and you'll see that energy begin to leap up from the pool, gather through the glass into her hand, come out as a slowly floating glob of energy. Bring the small one, the youngling. I shall finish their initiation.
I have a question. Morgan's request to basically seal her tongue about House Vairdans, was that made towards Ithrika or the council?
Ithrika. Well, technically both. Like, Morgan was wanting your guys' approval on that decision. Like, if any of you said, like, that's a bad idea, they would have said, like, no, it's okay. You can still totally do that, by the way, if you'd like. This hasn't happened yet.
Okay. No, Lydia's fine with that. I just wanted to make sure what the logistics of the actual
Absolutely.
spell would end up
like
being.
we weren't doing it because it's like,
Not a problem, not a problem.
Yeah.
I'm paying very close attention so I know how to dismantle it.
Morgan comes forward, kneels in front of Ithrika, unsure of what to do. Ithrika presses forward, pushes with a hand until Morgan is fully on their back, prone directly under Ithrika. Ithrika holds up the hand full of magic, traces a hand on the side of Morgan's face. This will not hurt, love. It will be the most freeing thing you have ever felt. Ithrika opens her own mouth wide and consumes the glob of magic, and then plants one on Morgan. Holds it there for several seconds, and you can all feel magic pulsing out around from the area. Killing me. And after a while, Morgan's form begins to glow, that same bright red. First just kind of beneath the skin, and then eventually so bright it consumes the skin and clothing until all you can see beneath Ithrika is this bright glowing cocoon of magical energy. And when that shatters in shards of spiraling light, a new person is there beneath you. Laying there is Morgan in most form. Their hair is made of coiling, tendriling serpents, already alive with motion. Their hands and legs that are still, what can be seen of them, are beginning to be lined with glistening gray scales, and their eyes are bright white and sharp like a cat's. Ithrika looks down. Marvelous transformation, dear. You are one of us now. But first, takes that hand on the side of their face and pulls open Morgan's mouth, places a finger on their tongue, swipes. You see a line of magical writing inscribed along Morgan's tongue. A deal is a deal. This one cannot speak of your house unless they wish to have the seal broken. Now then, was there anything else I can do for the venerated High Council of House Vairdans? Trust me, this one will serve well. I thank you for expanding the ranks of my dear court.
If no one else, so Sword Airdrie would probably. Only what we can do for you is also part of the deal.
For now, you can wait. I will tell you what I know of what the church plans. The island of Ryza will be invaded, its people swept aside. I have seen this in the strands. The Crusader Lord will not stop there. He is stoking tensions all about the east, or all about the west here. The dragon one, or the scaled one, and the elves, their relationship has been tense for many times. The Crusader Lord is already stoking tensions there, spreading half-truths. However, it goes much closer to home. He has bid the Metri family break old treaties with the giants in the north, and push them to be more aggressive with their trade deals, provided them with something, a potent trade good. This has made them antsy with the northern spear folk. The Crusader Lord seeks to create war in your backyard, to distract you all from what he has planned. If you would like my recommendation, let the spearmen and the trade folk kill each other. Let them blood each other as much as they have to, but do not let one wipe out the other. Either could serve your cause well. Beyond that, waste none of your own troops on this matter. When the time comes, you will hear from me again. For now, I bid you leave my court. Your presence ruins the beauty of this place, while it is not preserved in such ways. She slithers back towards her throne, languishes there, puts a hand up and slowly presses it. Morgan, almost kind of subconsciously, slowly stands up, turns and looks back at the rest of you, stops. I suppose this is goodbye then?
One last thing. And Real will walk up to Morgan and kind of like press his forehead up against Morgan's and whisper, "Fly high, Yoko, fly high." Yoko being the infernal word for sparrow, and he will plant a small little stone, a small sending stone, into her palm.
They take the stone in the palm, clasp it tightly, real tight. I will miss you so dearly.
Keep in touch. I'll miss you too.
And they'll step back. High Council, it was an honor and pleasure to serve you all. I thank you for the time.
No need to bow. We leave as equals. And Fane will do the wrist grab that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the arm clasp and the foreheads.
Mm-hmm. Morgan takes it, of course, perfectly in stride. Nods. If there's nothing else.
DM, what was the title that Ithaca said she had? The lady something?
Lady of the Loom.
Lady of the Loom. Yeah, I think last thing Airdrie would do is, well, we are ever gracious, my Lady of the Loom, and would do like specifically, like you said, there's a showy sort of martial arts thing.
Mm-hmm.
He would do like the showiest martial arts bow possible, maybe even imitating like the pose of his great grandfather,
She purrs.
but try and put like speed into it.
She
Like,
like just coos at you and just. I will see you again, Ranger General. I will be certain of it.
trying very hard not to react to any of
And
that.
she gestures with a hand in the direction of where you all came. There are a gathering of thralls at the end of the room who throw their hands out towards back down the winding corridor towards the pavilion where you all teleported into. Morgan turns around, offers one last smile in all of your directions, and walks to take their side beside Ithrika's throne. And I feel like...
Yes, we're going. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, unless there's anything y'all need, you want to leave it there?
I have something I want to.
Okay, go ahead.
Then we're over to the Historian. Do the thing.
Yeah.
If you're doing something that pertains to the group, let that go off first because I
I'm
want
not.
to do something before. Okay.
I got nothing.
Go ahead. Go right on ahead.
Lady of the Loom, might I have a moment for a private conversation?
Ithrika looks at their sharpened fingers. You may have exactly 12. Come. And slithers outside of their throne. Looks over to Morgan. Ensure these ones leave when I am done. Morgan. Yes, milady. And Ithrika slithers off to a side where a small little dugout is. You're more than welcome to make your way over, Lydia. Although Ithrika will clearly not let the rest over as it was requested in private. Just, you wished my ear.
Before leaving the group, the necklace that she usually passes off to Naori, she's going to end up passing off to probably Airdrie. Airdrie would probably be the one standing by her. I'm the least likely to ask questions.
Well, he's not
At least
gonna.
in the moment.
He's just like, yeah.
At least in the moment. Like, here you go. Like,
He's seen
okay.
you do this before. He's like, yeah, yeah.
All right,
He rolls
this,
with it.
this is normal.
He's seen you do that before.
Before joining the Lady of the Loom.
So yeah, Ithrika just looks at you, just... You wished my ear, yes? Speak.
All these centuries you've remained silent. Hidden here in your garden. What's changed?
There are powers bigger than you and I, Historian. You know this better than most, yes? Everyone answers to someone. Those who are above me, who see the full vision, they believe our time approaches, that conditions are aligning. I am simply playing my part. You would be wise to do yours.
And what, pray tell, do they believe our part to be?
The joys of serving that I don't have to know. All I know is the mistress knows you all have a place in her grand scheme. And as far as I am concerned, you are all following perfectly according to plan. So continue to behave as you do. And if things need to be correcting, I am certain she will do so.
This was all by design, wasn't it?
Everything is by design.
Episode stinger, outro music,
Yeah.
credits.
Fair.
I'm fine with that cut
Yeah,
off.
I'm gonna add just one last thing, which will sort of be like our not post credit, not like credit zinger, but like mid credits cutaway. Like we're in the middle of the credits, you gotta cut away to this. Lydia is
More of a
moving
mid-credit scene.
moving to rejoin the rest of the group. Ithrika stops her with one last, if you don't mind. Call it a woman's curiosity. And I will say mechanically, for the story, you don't have to answer this at all. We're just gonna drop it here unless you want to. But assuming Lydia stops, do you?
She does.
Ithrika kind of preens her serpentine body forward, comes so her head is next to yours, her arm around your shoulder. Do they know what you are?
Well, I suppose that's for me to know. And you to figure out.
And I guess we'll leave it right about there. Stand by for just a moment as I switch over the music. I'd like to thank you all at home for coming into a lovely session of Against the Light, a Kingdoms and Warfare adventure. I have been Young Foxy, your host for the stream. I'm going to have my cast go around. We went perfectly clockwise last time, so let's go perfectly counterclockwise this time. Please tell everyone who you are, who you've been playing, and where you can be found on the internet, as well as plug any cool things you got going on, and then we'll get ourselves out of here shortly. Take it away, Vermin.
Hello, everybody. I'm Legendary Vermin. You can find me as Legendary Vermin on all the places on the internet that matter, which is, of course, Itch, Twitch, and Twitter. I make games, so find those on Itch. If you're ever curious, like, what I'm doing off in the future, normally you can run on over to legendaryvermin.com/live and see a full list of where I'm streaming and when. I have not kept that up to date because I just started a new job, so sorry, that's going to be useful probably tomorrow. Or Tuesday. Tonight, and I wrote down my epithets.
You did.
Tonight I played Bane Hemlock, Anchorite to Nyx, the Layfinder, and Venomistress. I am also known as Night Thunder, the Unburnt, the Evening Rook, and the Seamstress Eye.
Ooh.
Fane feels like we got almost everything we could have possibly wanted there, and she does not like it. But that's for her to feel and for us to watch play out.
Isn't it weird when you get exactly what you want out of the encounter and still feel like something went wrong?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, while you all ruminate on that, we'll swing right on down and around over to our purpley friend, the lavender lover himself. You know, the violet vagabond. Charles, take it away. How you feeling, boss?
You're half
Not
a step
good.
into calling me the purple pimp at this point.
You know, what? He did send off one of his women. How do I? He did do a little bit of pimping today.
Assistant.
Assistant.
So, yes, he did send his
Oh.
assistant
Behave
off to be
yourself.
with another. You know, so I'm gonna just leave that there.
Behave yourself.
Oh no. What have I done?
Oh, fuck. I have been Chouse, playing Rio Branshaw, the man behind the slaughter, keeping everything balanced just as it should be. I had to get those out.
All right, I'm proud of you.
Sorry. There was no
Welcome
other
in.
time. Like, God, that whole final scene, there was nothing that I felt that I could do. It was just, fuck.
We'll talk about it. Don't you worry.
Well, you see, I have anxiety. So whether
Well,
I
can
want to or
find
not,
you?
I will be worrying about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You can find me on the internet at It's Chouse, because Chouse was already taken. Those motherfuckers.
How dare they?
How dare they?
It's the government.
How fucking could they? But yeah. You can find me mainly around Neon Lights Roleplay or TPK Roleplay. Nice.
Cat.
I'm sorry.
We have a cat.
He saw a cat and got distracted. Fair enough. Well done. Great job.
Yeah. But yeah, he's saved Morgan, but at what cost? Everything.
Everything. I guess we'll take ourselves right over across your dice window, audience, over to our resident house historian. Go ahead and say goodbye to everybody, Meg.
Goodbye, everybody. I am Meg Mysteria, and tonight I got the hair in my mouth. I got the distinct pleasure of playing Evermore. I can't get through my intro without cackling.
You got it. You're doing great.
Very Lydia energy, apparently.
You can find me at Meg Mysteria on Twitch, on Twitter, on Itch, pretty much everywhere as far as what I've got going on. You'll see me back here in a couple of weeks for our next episode of Against the Light. And on Saturday, we have the return on TPK Roleplay of the Coven's follow-up episode to Dungeon Bitches. If you guys are aware of that, we play tested it while it was on Kickstarter, and we're coming back for part 2, and we've got the devs with us this time, baby.
I cannot physically explain how excited I am for this.
So
Play with the devs of a game.
Like, it's gonna be great.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all don't understand. It's so good. It's y'all. All right, I'm done. I got nothing else to say.
It's going to be really hype, but other than that, you'll catch us back here, and not here, but on TPK Roleplay as well in a couple of weeks for our next installment of The Hubris of Man, with Vermin playing our resident smart gunner. But that's it for me, so let's throw it up there to Tate.
Do the thing, Tate.
Yeah, Twitch. I'm Tate Washburn. You can find me at kinda_writing on Twitter, where I do a bunch of tabletop writing, sarcasm, politics, memes, stuff like that. You know how it is. What you really should do is follow this channel's Twitter, Neon Lights Our Play, where we announce all the stuff we're going to do. Which, speaking of, I'll be here on Sunday, probably, to be running the Violet Sea with one of these guys in it. One of these people on screen in it.
I'm the guy. It's me.
Yeah, where I get to be a dev playing the game I developed, because I've made the whole system for that, and it's always weird and interesting.
It's pretty dope.
I get to reflect on my mistakes.
As we all should.
And the things that go well. And yeah, but that's pretty much it. Oh, you should also be on our Discord.
Yeah.
Discord here, where we announce stuff.
I'll plug all
Like when I
that
say we're
stuff.
probably playing Sunday, that's where we'll announce for sure, because
Definitely.
schedules. Anyways.
I guess this brings us back around to me. Folks, if you hadn't heard by now, I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite Fox Philly's finest. I can be found on Twitter at BIG_FOXXII. I don't go on right-wingers, I slay fascists, I have a good time doing it. The next place you'll see me on the interwebs will probably be... Oh gods, when will you see me again? You'll probably see me next Thursday, actually, over on Weave the Tale for Into the Stormlands, our Pathfinder 2e campaign. Afterwards, you'll see probably me back over on TPK Roleplay for Cold Hands, Warm Hearts, because that's back, of course. Oh, wait. Wait, hold on. Did I really? Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean, why did... Oh, right. You're right, Vermin. You don't have a command, because I'm the worst and haven't fixed commands. Don't scare me like that. Okay. I was like, wait, did I skip somebody? I thought I skipped someone.
To everybody but me.
I know, okay, to be fair, they already had them for different reasons. I just don't have a thing for you. I'm gonna fix it, I promise, I swear. Give me time, okay? I got you. I love you. Wait, psych! It's right there! Get fucking bodied! Also, it's not me, it's Dan. Dan's in chat. I love you, you're great. Mwah. Any case, right, the only next place you'll see me will be there. Outside of that, I'll be doing a lot of stuff here. Stay tuned to Now Let's Roleplay. We have lots of cool stuff coming at least 1 or 2 new campaigns starting up pretty soon. You will catch us live next tomorrow, actually, for the return of A Blade's Will. After plenty of time of people being sick and having lots of other nonsense, it's ready to go. We are back and ready to hit the high seas and be ninja pirates yet again. It's going to be great. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you then. We're going to throw our raid over to somebody real soon. So just hang out for that. And until we see you here again, take care of yourselves. Oh, bye-bye.
Fine. I'm going to stop doing that thing because you guys mentioned that I do it every time.
I think it's my favorite thing, dude.